everyone, and we're live, guys. Hello and welcome to Friday Night Live on Hot Pot Podcast. We're joined today by some very familiar faces to those of you who frequent the depths of TikTok. Maybe not even the depths of TikTok. I reckon your front page, you guys. This is Dr. Graves. We've also got Evelyn and Angel. Is that right?
That's right. He's no angel, but that's his name. That's the name his mom gave him. He looked like an angel when he was 4, maybe.
Yeah. So, first off, we have a little bit of a story to tell, don't we, me and you?
We do.
Should we hear your side of it first? Because I think you're probably a bit more comedic than I am.
I don't know about that, but so my side of the story was, you get great page. I love your page that you have. I think it's great. I think everybody likes it a lot. You seem to really grow every single day. It seems like you get more and more followers on there. So I was like, you know what? Maybe I'll submit a picture on there, post something cool. So I was like, you know what? But this guy may know who I am. So I got to send more photos because I got to seem legit. I got to seem like I know what I'm doing. So I submitted a whole bunch of photos of me doing some surgery and me holding this big tumor, which is the infamous tumor picture now. So I submitted these things, and I submitted the first one with the cameras. There's a bunch of cameras because we were filming a TV show when I did that surgery. So I was like, you know what? I'll throw this first one on here. He's going to see this. He says, okay, this guy's street credit. This guy's legit. Let's go ahead and post one of these photos, right?
So cameras was your mistake when it comes to me.
Really? Did it just grab your attention? That's what you want?
I'm sitting with maybe 4 or 5 cameras around, well, 3 or 4 cameras around me. I've got the one I use in surgery. I've got the Sony we're playing on right now. So that was probably your first mistake. And the second one was like, I'm looking at it going, I clicked on your page, I can't tell what he does. Is he a Max Specs? I'm not sure. That's a big round object. I was like, I don't know. So I was like, I went with the safe option where no one's going to call me out and go, oh, why are you posting randoms? But that's kind of what I saw.
Right, and it was my fault. I got your attention too much with the camera.
We just needed to get to know you.
Shiny lights, sparkly lights.
So that was the post, and then something happened afterwards, didn't it?
So it happened afterwards. It posted, and I was like, I like this, but that's really not the photo I wanted because I thought me holding this 4-pound tumor is going to get a lot of people's attention. And if we're looking at just kind of driving content, I'm like, well, that's the one I really want. That's the one that people are going to stop and look at and say, holy crap, what is this freaking thing this guy has, right? So we went back, and I'm like, all right, this is an opportunity for me to kind of make a joke out of this and do this on TikTok because, A, it's going to be one or two things. I didn't know which way it was going to go. I thought this guy may be really pissed off and think I'm really like being a jerk about this and like hate me. Or he'll see what I'm doing here, and that's good for both of us. You know, that's going to drive content to you, and that's going to give our audience something that they enjoy watching. You know, so and plus it allows us to market our Instagram through our TikTok, which we really don't do a lot of. So it kind of gave me those opportunities to do those. So that's kind of why I did that. And it turned it into like a great social media post for both of us.
Yeah, because I'm not great on TikTok. I'm sure you've had a little look at mine, and they're pretty weak compared to yours. You're very well produced, and I'm there just like having a little laugh at people with, you know, you're doing the teeth thing and all that.
We're glad that you said that. You know, we didn't.
Right.
I'm not politically correct.
We're here to help each other. That's all. Okay.
It's a funny story because I was in the gym, so we have a home gym now because, you know, COVID shut everything down. So I live home with my brothers and parents. So we decided we'll get some weights and stuff. And I'm there, and I've decided, okay, I'm gonna do like carb-free days. I saw you did Fit Tea recently, which we'll talk about in a second. But I was doing some like low carb days. That day I had chicken wings and water up until about 9 p.m. And obviously 9 p.m. for you is like 3 p.m. So you've dropped the video about 4 p.m., right?
Right.
We've got a couple of guys who are watching. Javi the singer says, hi, Evelyn. Hi, Dr. Graves, and Angel and Chris. So is that someone you know?
Chris is the camera guy.
So thank you, Javi, for the comment. So then I was in the gym, and I was smashing out these weights. And then in the corner of my eye, I've got my phone on the charger, and it's just going like this. And I'm going, okay, what's going on here? Really? So then I kind of try and ignore it because I've got, a few more sets to do and I'm feeling pretty tired and I'm a bit hangry, carb free, you know how it gets. And I go inside and I just put my phone aside and I'm going and I'll have a look and then I see a message from Bloody Tooth Guy and he goes, "Why is Dr. Graves like flaming you?" And I'm like, and I'm like, what's going on? At this point, I've not even looked. So I open up and there's 200 comments, 200 unread DMs. And I'm like, what? What is going on here? And everyone's like, where's the effing tumor? Who even are you? Who do you think you are? And then
our friends really have our back over here.
Yeah. And then
Granted, I did give away a lot of free T-shirts. I mean, we probably mailed out
at least 100.
100
there was
T-shirts all over the world. I mean, I think the first day I mailed 15 T-shirts to Australia. But I mean, we sent them to Brazil, we sent them to Italy, we sent a lot to England, Paris. I mean, we've sent these T-shirts over this one post all over the world.
It was nuts. And then I was looking at it going, at this point, I've still not eaten, right? So I'm a little bit pissed off initially. And then so I throw my phone over to the side and then I sit down and eat. And then I see your video and I'm like, okay, this is kind of funny actually. And then I did the reaction one. Which
I was like, he can take this one or two ways. He can see the copy in this and kind of the marketing aspect of it, or he may just be pissed off over this.
Yeah, so as soon as I got some food down me,
I was like, we're gonna go for it. We're just gonna go for it. We're just gonna go for it.
Because that's what we do.
yeah.
That's what we do.
As soon as I got the food down me, I was like, this is hilarious. I need to go back in kind. And it was fun. And I kind of, from there, I was like, oh, you know what? I quite like doing reaction videos. You kickstarted my TikTok career a little bit. All 20 followers I've got.
But TikTok's a tough platform for like dentists, right? I mean, I think if you looked at social media, you could say your Instagram, you can have more of a professional account. A lot of oral surgeons and dentists on Instagram they'll do case presentations and show like bloody photos. And I think that's definitely a good way to go, especially if you're direct marketing for those type of cases.
It's hard.
I think it's hard because TikTok, if you put any blood on TikTok, they'll take the video down.
Really?
So, so we have a Snapchat as well, and we'll do a lot of like live surgeries on our Snapchat, and we have a pretty decent following. That's kind of where we started with our social media, and people love that. And we tried to incorporate a little bit of that on our TikTok, and they were just taking the videos down. Even when Chris would go in there and blur out the blood, they would still take the videos down. So you really have to be more creative in your TikTok. And I really think for TikTok to work, you have to kind of bring in some other cast of characters to make it more, to reach a bigger audience on something like that.
What was the video I really liked? The middle name video. That had me cracked up. Who's
when Angel was making fun of my middle name.
Yeah. Oh, I loved it. It was hilarious. I was crying.
Lorena.
Was it Lorena now? But yeah, so
but I try to steer away from like your typical TikTok video. Typical where they're. I mean, I know like the dentist has done pretty well with his dancing stuff. I don't like the dance, and I just golly, longevity how long can that last? How long will people want to see the same person doing the same dance over and over?
Yeah, and you've got singing dentist as well. He's doing some things as well with his eyebrows, which I can't do. All of that.
So I think you have to always be changing and creative to make that work. You see a lot of videos where people they're pointing at the screen and they'll try to give like dental advice about flossing and brushing and blah blah blah. I try to stay away from those type of videos.
It's
even though there is a big push from TikTok to do educational based videos, and maybe we'll do some of those. It's just not really our platform that we want to go for.
Do you know what it is? It's like it's a bit boring, and I kind of get why people are doing it, but for me, it's like social media is all about the fun, which is why I've really enjoyed when I wasn't hangry seeing your video, and other people doing little dances and things like that, which I can't do because I'm very I've got 2 left feet, so I can't dance, so I've got to find my own way. But I like how you guys are doing it because do you feel sometimes, especially when we get to a certain level like you are, I'm nowhere near, I just graduated 2 years ago, you kind of like look down on like your underlings, and it's like, are these just people that work for me? I love that you brought everyone in, and it's like, you know, you've got Angel, you've got Lorena here, who are part of your content.
Well, I mean, it's that, and I think a lot of dental offices lack this, is creating a type of culture for your business, right? I mean, people, especially younger people, they don't necessarily work for a company because of the pay. And then 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that's why people took jobs, was because of the pay and the benefits. And I think the workforce today is a lot different than it was in the past.
Yeah.
And I think people are looking to be a part of something maybe special, something bigger than just working at a dental office. I mean, there's more to it than that. I mean, we reach millions of people all over the world, and they get to be a part of that. And I think that helps with retention of your employees and the happiness level of your staff, which translates to your patients being happier, which translates patients to accepting treatment, which translates to maybe your business being more successful. So they all kind of interlink with each other. But the problem is, it's hard to explain that to a lot of dentists because they don't see the value in that, because they don't have marketing degrees and they didn't go to business school, and they just see the dentistry. And a lot of people think that just being a good dentist equals being successful, and that's not necessarily true.
Yeah, it's no longer a case of build it and they will come. You really have to get your name out there in a really clever way. Can you guys see the comments, by the way? We're getting loads of comments, so shall I read a few out so we can... So we've got Sean Rashid saying, why do you want to be sedated?
Well,
let me ask you a question about that.
Yeah.
In England, because I'll have people write us. I have a couple patients who wanted to come from England, get whatever. Do you guys do a lot of your surgery under local, or are you guys doing a lot of your surgery under sedation?
I had my 8s out 18 months ago, I think. Maybe 2 years. Actually, maybe 2 years ago, thinking about it. It was just under local, done in half an hour, but yeah, I remember every bit of it. I'm not too squeamish, but we don't tend to do it very often. I think it is very expensive in the UK. Not a lot of people have done sedation as a added extra for their careers. So it's few and far between where we have someone who's really offering that. And I'm sure you've heard about NHS and private, the way we run things in the UK.
Right, it's like a 2-tier system, is that right?
A government system and a non-government system. So a government system is, you technically can get everything, but really you can't because the funding is pretty poor. And then private, you can go as expensive or as cheap as you want, and you get what you pay for.
In your practice, do you do private or you do government, or can you do a combination of the two if you like?
You can do a combination. I was primarily doing government previously. I've left that job. I'm looking for a private job now to do endo. So my failed endos will come down to you for an implant, right?
They could, you know what I mean? But like here in the States, if you're getting your wisdom teeth out, if you're going to see an oral surgeon, you're probably going to be sedated.
Yeah, it's part of the whole experience.
More than likely, if you're going to see a general dentist, maybe they talk you into do it awake because they don't do the sedation. But I mean, I think here a lot of people would rather be asleep and rather be sedated than be awake for that type of procedure.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about whether it's good or a bad thing. I know some guys in the UK like to say, oh, it's an easy into starting opiates and all sorts of stuff like that, which I think is a little bit on the edge and probably just trying to have a little dig at you American guys. But yeah.
I mean, I would say that, I would think that people are more likely to be on opiates based on their post-op drugs, not necessarily on the sedation drugs.
Yeah. A couple more comments. Cosmo person says, I have shirts. TikTok fam. Brooklyn says, hey, Cosmo.
that's our guy.
Is he your guy? Amazing.
Did you say Brook West? Is that the next one you just said?
We had Brooklyn West saying, hey, Cosmo.
Brooklyn West won the $100 off of that post.
Did she?
100 somebody, and she's the one that won the $100 off that post.
How did you manage to pick someone out? Because that's got to be pretty difficult to work out who's done it.
So what did I do? We made a video about it.
Professionally, that's how we do it.
Yeah, I think some random person walked in the room. I said, pick a number between 1 and whatever, and they just chose to pick a letter.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they chose a number, and we just picked the second person with that letter that was on the comment list. I think that's how I did it.
Okay, so kind of scientific, kind of not really.
was zero sensitivity.
But she did win, and she
She
did
did
get
win.
her $100.
She got it.
So they went, and we learned a lot.
Dr. Awua says hi as well. And he's saying 3 versus 1 in your guys' favor. I think that's because there's 3 of you on screen. And Cosmo is running the comments right now. He's got loads on there. Keep it up, guys. Absolutely love it. If you're new, make sure to subscribe and like the video so more people can see Dr. Graves talk.
So you have a little podcast room. Is that where you're doing this? Did you have like in your house? And there's like a home office you have?
This is my bedroom.
Your bedroom?
Yeah, it's my bedroom.
You know, we're actually building a new. So in our practice, we have our surgery practice. And we have 3 locations for that, but we also have dental offices. We have about 6 or 7 dental offices, and we have a couple pediatric dental offices as well. So we kind of have a big network. We have about 160 employees that work for us, and we're actually building a new facility right now. And in that facility, we're having a podcast studio that's going to be in that office. So we have 2 things. We have a podcast studio, and we have a full-blown production room that has a green screen wall and floor, and we have a changing room and vanity from hair and makeup and everything else that we're putting in our new facility that we're building.
Yeah, I need a makeup guy. I'm sure I've got some spots that need to be hidden out in here. That sounds amazing.
We have right now, so it gets pretty bright in here too.
Yeah. How many lights have you got behind the camera then?
Chris, we have 2 big lights in the room right here, and then we have I just got a portable set that we can take on location, different places with us.
Yeah. Mine's technically portable, but I probably need a couple more people to help me lug things around. You're using a proper camera for this as well, right? Nice quality. Really nice quality.
No, this is my Mac camera.
Is it?
The lights help so much. The lights really help a lot with the camera. We can kind of compensate a little bit for that.
Yeah, so how did you get started on TikTok? I think that's because it's not been long TikTok's been a thing. What kind of made you just blow up? Is there any sort of particular point you were like, this is going to really work for us and we can, go all in?
I think that was Chris. Chris came to us and said, hey, let's do a TikTok. And at the time, I never heard of TikTok. But we go to a social media conference in San Diego every year. And they've been saying for the last couple of years that, social media is going to go away from still photos and it's going to go almost completely to short videos.
Yeah.
So we knew that the platform was going to change at some point. And then this was kind of a reflection of kind of what we learned at those conferences. So, I mean, you kind of look at this and say, okay, this may hit and it may not. I mean, there's a lot of other little video things out there. And what was Vine? Remember Vine was similar to TikTok?
Yeah.
It was a couple years ago. And I think it was just a little too early. I don't think people were ready for the little short videos like they are now. And so, some of the things are going to hit and some not. And we actually just got lucky that, TikTok took off the way it did. And on our TikTok, our audience is a really young audience. I mean, young. I mean, I bet you of our 2.5 million, at least half of those are probably teenagers or younger. And you can tell based on the videos and the comments and the messages that we get, they're all really young.
No wonder there's such a clamor for this $100. That's like what, a week, a couple of months, maybe a year's allowance. I don't know.
So I think the things that really hit was our recovering videos. So patients after their sedation, the recovery room.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of younger people really find the humor in that, and I think that really initially helped build our TikTok was those type of videos. And we had one video that was on ridiculousness, that show on MTV. Do you guys have that in the UK?
We have MTV. I've never watched it, so I wouldn't know.
It's like this TV show where there's a host and they go through internet videos and kind of comment on them and laugh and make fun of them. It's a real popular show here. We had one videos that MTV picked up and put on that. We had another video that did about, if you look at all our platforms, maybe about 45 million views.
Yeah.
And that really boosted our following as well. So we kind of just got lucky. We had a couple big videos right at the beginning when people were just getting on there. I think now and in the future it's harder to build those audiences because people kind of establish the people they want to follow versus at the beginning. I mean, they were looking for people to follow.
Yeah, because it's first mover's advantage there, isn't it? Really.
Right. First, like Instagram. I mean, it's a slow grind, kind of building your Instagram account versus on our TikTok. Man, we got 100,000 followers in 1 week.
Amazing.
So a big difference.
Yeah. Do you guys gonna push the Instagram more, or do you think you got the TikTok and you're just gonna ride it out till it dies?
No, I mean, obviously, I like TikTok, but I think at the end of the day, the Instagram is probably the platform. It's the most stable platform that we have. I mean, in the U.S., there's always rumors about banning TikTok,
Yeah.
Chinese company, and there's some worries with security on it. We're not concerned about it, but I mean, stability definitely goes towards
An American-based
Instagram.
company, basically, for you guys, yeah.
Right, and if you look at our social medias, if I'm want young patients for wisdom teeth, I want to do TikTok and I want to do Instagram. If I'm promoting dental implants, something for like an older patient, then Facebook is kind of where we do that.
Yeah.
We feel like best return of investment is going to be on our Facebook for those procedures versus our wisdom teeth for our Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, I think that's probably about right, because you kind of got the mom's generation on Facebook now, which is when we left,
right,
and pretty swiftly left, and now she's actually followed us all the way onto Instagram. Actually, my mom's probably watching right now, so hey.
Which a lot of people are going to TikTok now, right? Their mom's on Instagram now, and they get a funding from their parents, and they have to find some platform to get away from them. So that's where they're going.
That's exactly it. It's the run away from home sort of thing. But yeah, I really enjoy kind of the longer form videos like this. So obviously YouTube is the platform for me to do this, and my Instagram's pretty much a vehicle to shovel people from Instagram to YouTube. What do you think about these short form videos? Do you think there's an issue with attention span?
I mean, you say that because TikTok's 30 seconds, and TikTok really, if the first 3 seconds doesn't grab their attention, they're just scrolling to the next, right? So I mean, you really need those first 3 to 5 seconds to really catch everybody and have them watch the next 12 seconds or 20 seconds, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like podcasts. I listen to a lot of podcasts. I travel a lot to different offices, so that's kind of what I do. Instead of listening to music, I just listen to podcasts. But I definitely think YouTube is probably as important, if not more important than anything else, just because YouTube is connected everywhere.
Yeah.
And if you look at the younger generations, if I want to watch TV, I turn my TV on and watch it. The younger generations, if they want to watch TV, they get their phone out and they watch the same thing on their phone. So, I mean, YouTube has access to everyone. It's a lot easier to watch YouTube than it is a cable network necessarily.
Yeah, I think it's it's on your mobile, it's on your tablet. You can get it on any browser. It's just it's a very portable thing, really, isn't it? It can be interesting to see because Instagram has tried and probably failed with IGTV, and they're trying up with Reels. Did you ever think you should post all your TikTok content onto Instagram Reels, or have you kind of gone against the grain there?
We're very selective about that, but we do post some stuff on Reels from time to time.
It just does like a normal Instagram post would. Usually it doesn't have that
right.
same...
I mean, and there's definitely strategy. Look, we have two. I have a business Instagram that's Amarillo Oral Surgery, and then we have the Dr. Graves one. And at the end of the day, it's probably more important to have an Instagram based on a person than it is a business, because only so many people are going to follow a business versus an unlimited people may follow Dr. Graves.
Yeah. Well, as you found with TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I think you can grow a bigger audience when you kind of specifically name it after you versus name it after your practice.
Yeah, I kind of see that as well. Same things happen with someone like Dr. Appa, got Rubenstein. You've got quite a few guys in the States who really hit it off big, with lifestyle / cosmetics, and in a very similar vein. Obviously, Bloody Tooth Guy's taking the absolute opposite way. It's just blood everywhere. So,
right, which is good. I think he has a great Instagram, and his Instagram was he was a very mysterious guy there for a long time because he never showed his face, And I thought it was a great little niche that he had because it made this mystery of who is this guy, and where does he practice, and what state's this guy in. I mean, I was the same way. I was like, who is this guy? Where is this guy at? I mean, on here. So he created this mystery, which I think was great for his initial following.
Yeah, and then he's obviously revealed himself over time. So yeah, it's worked really well.
It's difficult. Look, you can have a Bloody Tooth Guy type format, which is good, but I think your audience you're attracting is going to be like a lot of doctors. A lot of dentists, a lot of doctors, people who don't mind seeing the blood and they're fascinated and they want to see the blood and they want to see the tumors and the extractions, right? But then to a certain extent, I think you kind of limit your audience a little bit.
Yeah.
To that.
I do a bit of consulting,
And-
so that's something that I try and tell the people. You don't want to be doing retracted shots because patients are just grossed out, even by like the inside of your gums, already grossed out. You want to be like taking the picture, and that's what you see. You know, a bit of the nose. So you're just like, oh, it's a person. Oh, and they have teeth, and they're not very nice. Ooh, swipe. They look nice now.
Yeah. No, I agree. And you know what? Especially if you're promoting your page to drive patients to your office. Obviously, maybe you don't want them to see some of those pictures because maybe there's creates a little anxiety. I mean, if you saw a patient at the store and they ask you, "Hey, I need my wisdom teeth out," you wouldn't say, "Yeah, go to my page, Bloody Tooth Guy," and that's what you're going to have done. I mean, that's not. You're probably not going to say that, right?
Yeah.
But I think it. I mean, obviously, it has a big following. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of people who are interested in that stuff.
Morbid curiosity, I think that's the word.
No, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. You know.
Yeah. So how do you think? Well, let's hear a bit more about the two guys behind you. So, what are your guys' roles within the office?
Go for it, Evelyn.
Musical chairs.
Hello.
Hey.
Well,
So,
what do you want to know?
what's your role within the
Everything.
office? Yeah, let's hear about what your job is essentially.
I am a dental assistant right now. Obviously, I assist oral surgeons. I assist Dr. Graves, Dr. Wilkinson, and Dr. Gonzalez in surgery.
Yeah, and within the social media game, I think that's what we want to hear about. Who has all the ideas? Is it you? Is it
I think I'm gonna have to give that credit to Chris.
Chris is the mastermind? Yeah.
For once.
Yeah.
For once, I get credit for something.
I think he deserves it. Yeah, I know. He's really the one who's like, hey, do this, do this.
Hey, put
And-
pins in your.
yeah, like for a while I was known for pins. Actually, that was me though. I just randomly, I don't know how that came to be. I had a lot of pins in my pocket, and it's just random videos he does that catch people's attention, and we just go off of what Chris's ideas really.
So does
It's
Chris
Chris's ideas and our personalities.
just walk around the office with the camera going, do this, do
Yes.
that, do this.
I
This
do
will be
this.
funny.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
some people are like, y'all aren't even busy. Y'all don't even work. I'm like, no, we're busy all
Yeah.
day. But Chris literally is like, hey, give me 2 seconds, do this, this, and that.
And that's to give credit to Dr. Graves. That's because he's yelling at me, telling me to go film people.
yeah.
That sound.
So I'm like, hey, let me do my.
Yeah.
So his job is to interrupt you guys basically and kind of get you up, catch you off
So,
guard.
like, Chris, we can't, but we do.
Yeah.
Of course.
Is everything completely unscripted? That's what I would really like to know because it's all so funny. Or is there a lot of kind of bloopers where things don't quite go to plan? Or are you guys just hilarious people?
We can make things in one take. It's usually about 1 or 2 takes with us, and it's pretty unscripted. I'd rather it be unscripted. I think me personally, I'm not an actor, so if I try to script something, it comes across as if I'm trying to read it or acting.
Yeah.
It doesn't come off as natural. So I try to make things as organic as I can do it. And a lot of times, we just start with the concept and we just start filming and we just see where it goes.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think it's definitely unscripted because, like I said, we're always so busy, and it's like, hey, 2 seconds, here's this, and that's that.
Javi the Singer asks, Evelyn, what's your best tips for making a viral video?
I don't know. I haven't.
Put Evelyn in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll send them a picture of Evelyn.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that the trick then, Chris? Just stick Evelyn in and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. The trick basically is to put Evelyn in it and not Angel. That's the.
Angel, how do you feel about that?
Hey, I mean, it's whatever.
Angel's a musician. Sings. He's a singer. He was supposed to be in Dallas doing a gig tonight that got canceled from COVID.
Ah,
Yep.
dear. So,
All the ladies like play guitars.
That's the man over here.
what's your role in the office then, Angel?
I'm the sterilization guy. I clean all the instruments and I do all the follow-ups. So whenever they're in pain, they come back from surgeries. I take care of
Recovery
them.
room.
Mhm.
Yeah, assembles equipment when we get it in.
Yeah.
Carries heavy equipment in boxes.
He
Yeah.
watches stuff.
You're the bus boy. Oh dear, guys, you got to give him some more.
No, I want to know what you do. Like, what's your biggest main thing in your office? What do you focus on?
I'm a general dentist at the moment, so I pretty much see anything that comes through the door. Eventually, I just want to do root canals and shoot videos. So this is why I really like you guys, because I'm thinking this is really, really fun, and I like how they're doing it. It's maybe not exactly how I would do it, because it's not my personality. I'm a bit more dry, a little bit more sarcastic, maybe. But it's like it's fun, and it's a way that you can see, you know, making some content would be really fun. Yeah.
Is that where pulp came from? Your root canal?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I eventually I'm gonna have to rename it, because we never talk about teeth on here, so we'll have to do something about that. It tends to be talk about social media. We had a guy talking about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, the other day, and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. So yeah, I love the content creation, you know, love cameras and taking photographs. Kind of the whole Instagram thing, I've just taken it full on. So yeah. That's pretty much it.
This one's not comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to sit back there. Jesus. A bunch of animals
I
back
don't know how
there.
you guys stand not having to swallow.
Oh. So as far as like, are there endodontists real popular in England, or is that if you want to do a lot of root canals, is that something typically done by general dentists where you're at?
It's a mix. A lot of people who especially are working on the government system don't want to touch a root canal, because you get paid the same amount to take a tooth out as to do the root canal.
Mhm.
You could take a tooth out in 5
Right.
minutes. Endo's going to take you 2 hours. So you pretty much, if you know, if there's an option, you say, well, this might not work, you know, you might still be in pain, we can give it a go if you want. And the patient generally will go, okay, well I don't like the sound of that if I'm still going to be in pain. And then they you know, tend to want to take it out. If someone's really conscientious, they'll try and keep the tooth. But there are good opportunities for all specialties. So it's kind of, I just enjoy it. It's nice and calm. You get a lot of toys, microscopes, all sorts of stuff. So
You know what? I mean, my experience in root canals is what I did when I was in dental school. But I mean, I tell people I like for my surgeries to last less than 30 minutes. I like doing everything less than 30 minutes. I don't like working more than 30 minutes. And obviously we do orthodontic surgery that takes hours to do those procedures. But if I had to choose, I think as far as the longevity of my back is concerned and being healthy and practicing longer, to me, the shorter procedures allows you to do that. It gives you a break versus
totally
doing a root canal for, you know,
we're just
3
fiddling
hours.
around with little pieces of metal going like this, aren't we?
Yeah,
Who knows if we actually
whatever
do anything.
you got to do it. I mean, it's very hard and very technical. I mean, you got to have a certain skill to do that, obviously. But golly, I just don't know if I have the attention span to sit there and do the same thing for more than 30 minutes.
Do you know what it is? It's kind of like a puzzle. Sometimes, you know, you take that X-ray and you get a cone beam, you get a bit more information. But if you don't have a cone beam in office, you go, okay, there's how many canals there, and then you open up and you go, can I find this next canal? And it's like a little puzzle, and you know, you're like, okay, this is quite hard. Can I do something that other people aren't good enough to do? So it's a little bit of, you know, you're up yourself a little bit, and it's nice that you can do some microsurgery and you know, just leave after 5:30 p.m. or whatever, 9 to 5.
I tell you, people are very proud about the root canals.
Yeah.
I mean, you look on Instagram, there's more root canal photos on Instagram than there are anything else. Especially you do a hard root canal. People are going to post that picture. If they do a real complex root canal and they have a good X-ray, they're going to post that on their Instagram.
That's the only thing I post when I have them. So yeah.
We love their Instagram, their X-ray photos.
Yeah.
So where in the UK do you practice?
I'm not far from Manchester, if you know where that is. So I'm not in London at all.
Yeah.
No, so a lot of people say, oh, you've got a London accent or something like that, and I've not got a London accent at all. I'm much more northern, a bit more rough around the edges. So Manchester's a nice place. That's pretty much where I am.
There's a dentist on Instagram, social media, who sent me a book. She wrote a book about how to get into dental school in the UK. What was that girl's name? She's on TikTok. I can't think of her
She
name.
gave you a book. You don't even remember her name.
Well, she wrote this book, right? She didn't even freaking sign it. You know what I mean?
She thought you needed help to get in.
No, she did she followed us on TikTok or commented, and we like, I did like a duet of her on TikTok, but it was real nice. I mean, she's just thinking about the how popular these social medias are becoming. So anyways, yeah, she's from the UK and she sent me a book.
I'll check it out if you give me the name.
That's all I got.
That's it. That's it.
That's all I got.
She's a librarian. Okay.
She may not be a doctor. She may not be a doctor. I don't know.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I can't.
So you're talking a bit about keeping your back safe. Is there anything that you're doing in particular? Do you guys force Dr. Graves to do some yoga in the office? Is that something that you should maybe have a little think about? Chris, is that a good idea?
Maybe. That's a good video.
I use a chair for him. Some I stand on a little stool. That's about it.
I have these visions of maybe waking up in the morning and going to the office and everybody stretching together in the morning before we actually start doing surgery or doing yoga every other day. I have these visions of doing this stuff. I'm just either too lazy or I'm just too busy to think I can really do something.
Do you know what to do, Doc?
Do you stretch in the morning?
Do you know what to do? You've got to get a private tutor for a couple of months, and then say, oh, you know what? Let's start doing yoga, and then when these guys come in, you can be the really supple one. Because I went.
Are you big in yoga?
I have started doing it nightly because I'm pretty inflexible. I can't even touch the floor with my fingers anymore. I went to Sri Lanka a while back, 2 years ago, and there was like a £2, so like $2 class for yoga. Things are super cheap out there. I said, yeah, I'll do it. Why not? And then, I kid you not, there was a row of about 15 girls, and there's me going, I can't touch my feet. Oh, and then the lady's coming over, and she's like, don't worry, you'll get it soon. The most emasculating thing I've ever done, and yeah, I hightailed it out at the end of the session. I couldn't touch my hands behind my back, flat to the ground, all sorts of things. When I'm sat down, I was like, okay, this is really embarrassing. I'm in a hotel with all these people. It's a small place. They're gonna see me. Let's get out of here. So if you do it, get some private tutoring, and we'll definitely see that video, and everyone can be like, wow, he's so good.
So there are these people on Instagram. They're from Chicago. These dentists, a husband and wife. They're both dentists, and they're called the dental yogis or the yogi dentist. Do you know who I'm talking about? Have you seen these guys?
I had him on my 24-hour podcast back in August. That was a good one.
Yeah, real nice guy. So they're doing this mission trip to the Dominican Republic in February that I'm going to go on with them. And it's all about doing like yoga, like 2 or 3 times a day, and seeing patients like 3 or 4 hours a day and doing treatment and so on. It's in these tree houses in the Dominican Republic. It's right on the ocean. So I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll sign up. And then I'm thinking, hell, what the hell am I going to do when all these people these professional yogi dentists are doing this? And I'm tapping out in like 5 minutes into the session,
Can you touch your toes?
I can touch my fucking toes. Yeah.
I tell you what, last week I couldn't, so I'm there with you, Doc. But you're probably going to be there with my good friend Dr. Brett Gilbert then as well. I think he's pretty close with those guys.
Is he? And the Dr. Vita is going to be there.
Is she? It'd be good fun.
Yeah, you had said something about having her on the podcast at some point.
There's so many people I need to get on. I've got literally an Excel list of people that I need to contact. So if you've got any more suggestions, I'm down. I'll get them in. We'll speak.
She's a good one to have. I mean, she does lots of cosmetic dentistry. She helped do some veneers on Cardi B. It's kind of her big thing that she did. But she's in Orange County, which is kind of a suburb of LA, if you want to think of it that way. And I'm actually in LA next weekend, and I'm doing surgery in her office on a couple patients.
Is that going to be live streamed anywhere? You going to be on YouTube with it or something?
Yeah. So I have a California license, and I'll go out to Beverly Hills and do surgery from time to time. And I know my buddy of mine's he's in the industry, so he's going to bring like a little crew out. And we're doing this surgery on this guy on TikTok that has like 5.5 million TikTok followers. So we're bringing him into the Orange County office, and I'm doing some work. She's doing a root canal and some other stuff on this guy. I'd say his name, but we don't have like the media release
Permission.
yet on him. So I hate to like disclose who he is. And then I have a couple other patients that we're going to do some buccal fat pad removals on. We've done a couple videos of
Are those
those, and
popular?
it struck a lot of people. It's really it's real depends. Yeah.
I feel like if
Okay.
there was
Don't mind
more,
that.
it would definitely.
We definitely did some marketing for it.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's actually a pretty simple procedure. I mean, it takes maybe a little bit longer than taking a tooth out to do a bilateral buccal fat pad removal. It does. I mean, it really gives you a more sculpted look on your cheekbones, but it takes a couple months before you really see the results. So you can't really do it before, right? And then an after, even a week or two later, it's the best time to get the post-op photos about 2 months later.
Yeah, I suppose you could get the girls in and get some really nice makeup done, get some shadowing in there, contour it out. I know too much about this. I don't know why.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you wish you do all the pre-op photos. You wish you could knock on their door and wake them up at 2 in the morning and take their photo real quick, and they just look like
wake up
and get their pre-op photo on them.
Yeah. Oh, we've got loads of comments. One for you, Angel. How do you feel about the male to female ratio in the office? I don't know. This is from Javi the singer.
Javi the singer. Yeah, it's fun. I like it. I mean,
He loves it.
I love it.
We've got a question. What was it like seeing all the IG messages? Oh, that's for me. Yeah, I was a bit shook. Let's just say that. I was a little bit shook when I saw the messages. Somebody saying, "Yo."
I'm not gonna lie. When they started coming in, I'm like, Jesus Christ! I mean, we're gonna have to buy a lot of damn T-shirts now. I was like, I should promise the T-shirts.
I told him that.
What was the damage?
I mean, hundreds of T-shirts.
What was the damage with the T-shirts?
Oh, how much it cost? Oh, I probably spent that video. Probably cost me $700-800 probably.
Worth it.
Because the T-shirts are expensive, but I tell you what, when you mail a T-shirt to Australia, it's expensive.
Yeah. Shipping can be like a couple of dollars per shirt, right? At least.
Oh, I bet we're probably paying $8 to ship some of these T-shirts
for Australia and out of the United States. Usually like $20.
Yeah,
because it's more expensive than a shirt.
Yeah.
And then we have to pay for the shirt.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, that's expensive that as well.
We honestly didn't expect them to go off on you like they did. Like we expected some, but they really went off.
People like to have a cause. People like have a cause. They get behind the cause. You know.
Some of them got mean, man. Some of them were like, "You had one job."
What did the possible say to you?
I remember. I was like, I'm not gonna reply to all of these. There was one lady who was like, why? You know, she was actually quite nice about it. I was like, okay, I feel a bit better now. There's one person who kind of backed me. She's like, why did he send 5 photos though? But the rest were like, why haven't you posted the tumor photo? You had one job. Who do you think you are? Oh, this and that. Loads of stuff. And I didn't know you even had a TikTok beforehand. Otherwise, I'd been like, okay, I can see this coming. But yeah, it was interesting. An interesting couple of hours.
But at the same time, I got a lot of crap on the comments on the
Did you?
TikTok on that video with people saying, "Why did you send more than one photo?" You know.
Yeah.
So I got a lot of crap out of it as well. But I don't mind. You know, as long as people are talking about it, it's good for the algorithm and no more bad marketing, if you want to think of it that way. So I don't mind. I actually like it when I stir people up like that.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think there's like a certain age cutoff where at some point the guys who saw it, some of them were like, "Oh, that's disrespectful," whereas people who are around my age were like, "This guy's a joker." So I think I saw that demarcation with some people that I know, really, really nice people, but who are like, I can't believe he's been so disrespectful to Dr. Ghazi and blah, blah, blah. And the other guys were like, yo, he's done you there, bruv, and stuff like that. So.
But at the end of the day, it's all about, like you said, there's no marketing, there's no such thing as bad marketing at the end of the day.
Yeah, unless you've done something really bad, of course, which we hopefully won't.
Right, exactly.
He said we're friends now, okay?
We're all good.
Did you gain a lot of followers from it?
Say again?
Did you gain a lot of followers from that whole thing?
Maybe 100 more than normal per day. It's quite difficult to tell sometimes because people send me a lot of photos and it's very dependent on the photo I get sent or the video I get sent on how many interactions we get with that picture. If someone says a blurry photo, there's come a point where I start to say, no, you need to send me something better. So some photos just don't bang at all, and some have just gone, 100,000 views and stuff like that. So it's hard to tell, but there was definitely an uptick on that day. And I did a story not so long ago. Why do you follow this page? Are you a dentist? Are you not a dentist? Are you a dental student, specialist? All those kinds of things. And the people who said they're not a dentist, I asked them why you follow it, and quite a few said, from Dr. Grove's TikTok. And I stayed because it's interesting. So thank you for those guys.
No problem. Now, do you feel like you have a lot more dental students that follow your Instagram?
Yeah, I think we're predominantly the younger generation. Pretty much, if I say there's a niche, probably from 22 to 30, and it's about 60 to 40 split towards the girls from the boys that are following me.
It seems like a lot of your photos you post are a lot of people in dental school. A lot of those are students.
Yeah, who else has got the time to take 1,000 photos though, right?
Yeah. I think, what is our TikTok, Chris? Is it 70% female, 30% male?
Yeah. Oh no, it's huge. Female. Huge.
You think it's more than that?
Oh yeah, it's like 70 to 30, something like that.
Yeah.
On TikTok.
Yeah.
We can find someone for Angel then, right?
Predominantly.
We can find someone for Angel.
That's why Angel's on there. That's why
you got to get him in the gym. Come on, guys. Oh, he's got the gun show out.
Fat tea. Problem. I tried to get fit tea. I thought I could just drink a drink, and
tell me about fit tea. What happened?
So, and I don't know if you get this. I get a lot of people who send me messages and say, "Hey, can we just send you a free product? We'll send you something free if you'll put a post about it on your social media, right?" And they were one of the people. They sent me, and they asked for a name and address, and they sent me this like 14-day thing of fit tea. And we were being legitimate. I was like, let's just go ahead and let's just be real organic. I'll do the 14 days of the tea, and I don't know what they expect. Am I going to have diarrhea for 14 days? Am I going to feel like crap? Is it like an amphetamine here? Am I going to be hyper? Am I going to be able to sleep? And so we started the video, and they would text me. They would send me messages every couple of days and ask me, when are you going to post it? When are you going to post the video? We're excited about you posting the video, right? And I told Chris, I was like, hey, look, good or bad, whatever it is, we're going to be honest, and I'm just going to give my honest opinion about it. I mean, they gave me a free product. It's not like they paid me $10,000 to talk about their fit tea, right? And at the end of the day, when we finished the video, and granted, it was around the holidays, but I think I gained like a pound and a half. So we renamed it Fat Tea, and that's why I say that on the video. I'm like, oh, this ain't Fit Tea, this is Fat Tea, right? And I tell you what, they've never messaged me since. They've never asked me about the video.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, they weren't like you. They didn't take it very well. I don't know.
I didn't see the humor in it. I didn't see the marketing humor out of things.
Yeah, I think it's a learned skill to take a little jab at yourself, isn't it? Because I reckon if you'd done this to the wrong person, they'd have flipped out, like really flipped out, blocked you, and gone like, "Who's this prick?" and effing and blinding and all that sort of thing. But it's
But look, at the end of the day, if you would have got really pissed off and said that stuff, we would just kept it going. You know what I mean? And we would just we'd make something out of it. It would it would drive people. People would tune in to see.
Maybe I should have done
what
that.
you were saying about me and what I was saying about you. I mean, at the end of the day, there's still ways of making that work.
Maybe I should have done that. Well. Maybe we should archive this podcast. Archive the podcast. You can send me another tumor video or picture, and I'll be like, "What's he holding? A steak?" Something like that. I don't know. Just make fun out of it. I don't know.
It works.
Yeah. So even if you got mad about it, I mean, I knew you were from England, so I didn't really think you were just going to get on a plane and come beat me up. You know what I mean? So,
Trump would have kicked me out anyway. You're safe, guys.
Exactly. So I was so worried. Maybe it'd been different if your office was down the street from me. Maybe I wouldn't have done it, or at least we would have talked about it ahead of time. But I wanted to get your true, honest opinion out of it at the end of the day.
Yeah, it was a big tumor. Well,
and that was part of the problem too. Like you said, it was so big. that it doesn't look like this came out of someone's
that's
face,
why.
right?
That's probably why I didn't post it, because I was looking at it going, I don't have a fucking clue what that is. I'm not entirely sure if he's actually a dentist or an oral surgeon, or he's some sort of like gastrosurgeon or something, and he's trying to get a couple of hundred followers or something out of me. So I was like, I'll post the one with the cameras. I like cameras, you know, I'm a bit of a camera geek. That's a big rig he's got on his shoulder.
Yeah.
And then obviously shit kicked off, and it was a bit fun.
No. Yeah. And that's the problem with that picture. Like I said, people don't think that came from someone's head. It's so huge,
Yeah.
so massive, right? But I tell you what, I mean, we have like I said, you saw we were filming that, and I do a lot of, and you probably do too. I do a lot of podcasts, and they're mainly for like universities here in the U.S., especially now that students can't go into offices and do observations. So that's counts as their observation. So they'll want me to present a case for them, and that's the case I present a lot of the time.
Yeah. No, it's I reckon that's going to be an interesting one. Is it on YouTube? Because I'd love to watch that. Or is it on? Have you got it saved somewhere?
Tumor one.
No. We need to upload that. That tumor. Yeah, we didn't do it for a long time because, I mean, that show was there was a really good chance that show was going to get picked up by one of the networks here in the U.S. And we didn't want to kind of spoil the content because that was like the big of the first season. That was going to be the big case that we did for the show. So we didn't want to really release the video until we found out for sure where that direction that was going to go in.
Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, is it certified biggest tumor ever, or are we somewhere on the list?
Look, I mean, I did the literature search, and there wasn't very many tumors that size, even in literature. And originally, they thought it was going to be a lipoma, which it probably would have been the world's largest head and neck lipoma. And when they did the initial pathology, it was a lipoma on the path. But the pathologist was like, "There's no way this could be a lipoma. There's just no possible way that lipomas get this big." So they sent it for genetic testing. And it eventually came back as a liposarcoma. Even with the liposarcoma, it's still one of the biggest ones on record.
Yeah, no, I kind of get that. I think that's I think it's crazy, really. I would love to see that video. So when you do post it, hit me up and we'll make something of it. You know, we'll do a bit of content around that and we'll get the swipe up going. I think people will love that.
So when we did that surgery, we did that for free for that guy. So the guy had this. People asked, "How does this guy have this thing growing on his face?" And it grew in about 2 to 3 years. And at the end of the day, the guy just didn't have any money. You know what I mean? And he didn't know where to go, didn't know what to do, and it just rapidly got larger and larger to the point where it was where he was. And so he came to the office, and we shot the TV show, and the crew had left. So this guy shows up in my office with this humongous tumor, and I go in there and do the consult, and he doesn't have any insurance or any money. So I'm like, okay, you don't get this tumor very often in your office. So I'm like, I'm going to do this for free. I was like, don't worry about it. We'll do it for free. And I took a picture of it and I sent it to the guy in LA, the producer, and he was like, don't do this surgery if I'm not there. We're on the way back, right? So we planned it so that we could film it. And we have an operating theater at our office. So we ended up doing the surgery at our office. It just made it easier for us to film the surgery. It was on a Saturday, and the guy, I mean, legitimately didn't have any money. So we had to actually send someone to his house to pick him up because he couldn't even afford gas money.
Chauffeur driven. Wow.
Yeah, so we picked him up, brought him to the office, and shot it on a Saturday. And then I had that big, huge 4-pound tumor in this huge bucket. And the hospital's not open until Monday. So I drove around the whole weekend with that thing in the front seat of my car.
What's up, tumor?
Yeah.
You're in Texas country, right? You didn't drive past any what do you call it? And is it tailgating where you've got the barbecues? You know, people weren't having a little look in, thinking, "Oh dear, that's a big bit of beef."
You guys don't do tailgating at your football games?
No, I was trying to remember the American word for it. I'm trying to relate to your audience very badly.
No, it's called tailgating. It's where you go and you get drunk before the football game, and you may or may not make it in before the game starts. Depends on how much you drink.
Yeah.
Pre-game.
It's gaming. Pre-game.
We have that here. I don't actually drink, but everyone else that I go to football with is pretty hammered by the time they get in the ground, slurring the words and stumbling around. So.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds about like here, you know. No, there's not a lot of tailgating where we're at. I mean, there's some universities close to us. It's mainly college American football that people do the tailgating at here, or I guess the professional football as well.
Yeah, yeah. I've never really got into watching American football, but I loved playing when we were in school because we played something called rugby. I don't know if it's a little bit similar to American football. And every now and then they'd say, "Oh, go have a game of American football." Well, we do the warm up or something. A lot of fun, but we had no idea what we were doing. We're just hitting people, just literally just hitting
Right.
people, and just like, okay, this is how we
It's
did.
like American football with no pads, right?
Yeah, it's pretty intense, but you tend not to get as injured because you're gonna hit people, you know, essentially skin to skin because there's no big chunky pads in the way, so you take a bit more care.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we've got. This is a great comment. So Tiny Tooth UNE, she did a reaction to the video. I don't know if you remember, because she was the one that
That's
you were
right.
like, was it? Oh, this girl looks like a freaking
Wait.
cheerleader or
She's a
something.
cheerleader.
Was that her?
Cheerleader.
Yeah. She goes,
Uh-huh.
and Chris, listen to this. Down dog with Dr. Graves. Do we like it?
I like it.
What's that?
I like it.
What she asked?
No, that's what she said, right? She said that's the name for it, or what?
Yeah, the name for the video.
That down is down dog with Dr. Graves. That's what downward dog, right? That's what
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
called.
The dog is that
Downward dog.
the yoga.
I think that's what it's called, downward dog, and not down dog. I don't
Yeah.
know down dog.
That's probably just a cooler way of saying it.
Yeah.
you know?
It's more hip.
That's what I'm saying. It's probably a cooler way. Of saying
Let's see that video soon. We've also got Cameron Pactomania saying, "What's up, guys?" You know what? You should get him in because he's a whiz with the cameras. He was part of a YouTube channel that had 300,000 subscribers before he went to dental school, and he's in Weston, which is California, right? So he's not far away from you guys. You should see if you can hook up with him and see if you can get him involved somehow.
Yeah.
Few other comments. And it's, well, how about the TikTok account, The Bentist? And that's from Cosmo.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've talked to him a couple times. His TikTok is killing it. I mean, have 5 million followers and you're an orthodontist. You know what I mean? I think that's pretty successful. I mean, that's definitely a success story.
I've not actually seen
We're
it.
starting.
A lot of dancing though. He does lots of
Does he?
dancing, and I'm like, I'm not a big dancer, and I couldn't do it. And longevity of something like that. I mean, are people watching because they enjoy the dancing, or are they watching because they're fans of orthodontics, right? Because if they enjoy watching the dancing, I would just be worried that there's going to be a better dancer out there, right? Someone who can dance better, who's not an orthodontist. Maybe they get his audience. I don't know.
First mover advantage again, though. He's got the 2 million, hasn't he, or whatever? So he can probably win. Chris is poking in the camera. What's going on, man?
We're coming after you now, Bento.
That's all.
That's the next beef. That's the next beef right there.
The dentist,
So what is it? Dr. Graves can dance better than the Bentist? Is that what we're saying?
there's zero chance. There's zero chance Dr. Graves is going to dance better than the dentist. I can tell you right now. Just go ahead and settle that mystery before we even start that.
And Tiny Tooth UNE is asking, Evelyn, any plans to go to dental school?
Yes, that is what I'm going for, actually.
Okay, so she got some inside knowledge there. How's the application process going for you?
I'm gonna go to college. That's all. I need to get started. Right now I'm just working for Dr. Graves and learning, growing. Because actually before I worked for Dr. Graves, I was working for a general dentist and I love that. So I do want to be a dentist.
Yeah, it's great fun. There's so many options. Angel, are you gonna follow in the footsteps or are you gonna stick to the cleaning dishes and all that? Sorry.
I want to go for a hygienist, but more into music. So
Into the music. Are you I hear you're a singer, is that right? Have you got a song for us?
I have my own group.
Are you the lead singer?
Yes, lead singer.
He is, actually. He really is.
Yeah.
So where can we find you, Angel, if we want to see some of your singing?
You can find I have an album on Spotify, Apple Music, literally everywhere. It's called La Realidad.
Okay.
It's yeah.
Send me that. I'll check it out. It sounds good.
Hey Chris, why don't you type that in the comments?
Yeah. Go.
Well, like,
Are you on the? You have the
Yeah,
YouTube up?
I'm on the YouTube.
Yeah,
here.
type that.
this is
We'll have Chris type that on the
No, I'm
YouTube.
gonna go ahead and let the.
We'll let Angel type that on the YouTube.
It's not no juventud, la realidad, but
Yeah,
So what I like, I take a lot of pride in is at our office. I like it when the employees want to further their education, and we've had a lot of people come through our office who go to dental school or become a hygienist. I mean, I really encourage that.
Yeah.
I don't discourage that. I mean, we may lose Evelyn, who's a great assistant. Maybe she goes to dental school. But at the end of the day, I'd rather her be a dentist than be stuck being my assistant forever.
You're not going to sabotage her then. That's what we're all worried about.
I'm not going to stop her. She can do dental
For
school.
the
if she wants
TikTok
to.
clout, you need to keep her around, but she can go to dental school.
I mean, once they leave, they're dead to us. But still, still, they're dead to me now. But I'm happy for them at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So I've got a question that I've been asking, which we're actually going to get a triple answer from now, aren't we? So the question I've been asking everyone is, if you had your own personal podcast, so ignore the fact that you're a dentist or assistant or whatever it is Angel does. We're not quite sure, does some singing, does some other bits and pieces. Who are the first 3 guests that you would have on and why?
You can start.
Russell Westbrook.
Yeah. You know who Russell Westbrook is?
I do not.
The
No.
basketball player.
He's a basketball player, a very humble basketball player that I
Very
look up to. I would just like to get to know him, talk to him. What's his life like?
Get his number.
No. I don't know. I don't know who else the first person you?
Oh, well, that's
Aw.
nice. Oh,
No, not you.
Oh.
No, I'm asking you, what about you?
See what I mean?
You just got.
She had me. She had me.
Yeah.
I mean, look, if I had a podcast, I don't know if I would want to talk about dentistry on the podcast. And we're building a podcast studio. So, and obviously I know that's kind of where the future's going. And at some point I'm going to have to incorporate that into our marketing, social media. But I don't really think I would want to talk necessarily about dentistry. Now, I like science a lot. I think I could incorporate topics like stem cells and maybe relate those to how
4G and COVID.
COVID, how that relates to with dentistry, aliens, how that relates to dentistry. I don't know, but I don't think I would really want to focus on just dentistry, because at the end of the day, I personally don't want my audience to be dentists. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind dentists being in the audience. I think that's great, but I don't want to limit myself to doing very specific dental topics that only dentists can.
That's kind of where I see it as well, because at a certain point you'll have talked about your tumor, you'll have talked about all the other surgery you can do, fat pads and Bimax, osteotomies, stuff like that, and then where do you go? You're kind of finished then, aren't you? It's like a 10-episode series. The podcast is over. I think it's much more fun to just get someone and go, you're not allowed to talk about teeth. You can maybe drop it in a little bit. So most of my guests will be dentists, but I tell them, look, no one cares about teeth anymore. Let's hear about you. Let's hear about your interests. So we had a guy who
talk about teeth all day long, right? I get paid to talk about teeth.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it for free.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get paid to do that, right? I want to do it for free. But early in my business, I used to go to these Ritz-Carlton courses, these business Ritz-Carlton business courses, and there was nobody there who was a dentist. Nobody. When I first went to it, I was the only healthcare person who had ever been to this before, so I was a very big anomaly. And what I would do is I would take conceptually the stuff I learned about how the Ritz-Carlton ran their business, and I'd say, okay, I want to be the Ritz-Carlton of oral surgery. How can I relate these topics to my practice, right? And I think if I did a podcast, I would want to bring people in from the Ritz-Carlton, and I would want to bring people in from, I don't know, Spotify or Google. These other big companies are really good at marketing. And even if you have a big dental following, it's more like saying, okay, this guy isn't a dentist. This is how they make their brand successful. How can we take bits and pieces from what these brands do and apply these to dentistry? How can you take stuff from the Ritz-Carlton and apply that to your dental office to make the customer experience better?
Yeah, I think that's really key. Yeah. Like you could take inspiration, for example, from spas. If you're a cosmetic kind dentistry sort of dental place, people do massages and pedicures, manicures. How do they treat their customers? Because at the end of the day, I don't know if, for example, you go into a certain place and it feels clinical, you maybe don't want to buy. If you go in somewhere where it feels like you're going to get pampered, you're going to get some, nice teeth, you're going to get your lips done as well at the same time, and, a couple of other bits and pieces. Is that more interesting? Is that a different way to do it than something beforehand?
Right. And it would all be about stuff I want to learn about too. I mean, I want to bring someone on a podcast that is going to tell me something I didn't know, and I'm going to feel like I'm learning from that person. Yeah. I would do it like you do. I would do it very organically. I wouldn't want to any kind of prep ahead of time.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something. There's something there for you to do, and it's interesting that you're going to do your own in a studio. Is it going to be modeled on Joe Rogan's studio? Have you had an idea about it?
You know what? The specs of it is roughly about the same size as that. It's a little bit different. It's more like the radio stations, how they have the room that the DJ is in, and then there's like a glass wall and the programmer's on the other side of the glass wall. There's a little bit of that effect in there. But no, it's having definitely its room for 5 people, microphone set up with TVs in the background, and obviously the design of it's going to have to look somewhat cool. I'm still haven't exceptionally got how I want the look of it, but yeah, maybe a little bit kind of off of what a Joe Rogan would look like.
He's my favorite because he literally talks about anything, and he's semi informed on most things, which I think is incredible. So yeah, he's one of my inspirations.
Informed on things makes him so effective with this podcast.
Yeah, exactly, because he's kind of wrong half the time, so people have to correct him.
He's kind of like everybody else. He's like the average kind of guy when it comes to a lot of these things, right? And I think a lot of people can relate to him more so than if he was just the expert that maybe they can't relate to. He asks a lot of the questions to the experts that most normal people, average people would ask that person if they could have that person in the room with them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're outlandish, and sometimes they make no sense, and sometimes they don't. But the guests seem to do a good job as far as answering the questions appropriately.
Yeah, and sometimes he's a bit high, so it gets a bit weird. So that's always fun. Angel, who's your? First of all, I love your trim, by the way. I need a trim at some point. I'm liking the fade. Yeah,
I did it today.
Did you? It's for the podcast. Amazing. Who's your guest, man? Who's your first guest on your podcast?
Oh man, that's tough. I would probably have to go. I mean, I would go with Dr. Graves. I mean, just
he's a smart guy.
He's your right hand man.
He knows a lot of stuff, so I would go with, I get raised here, so
the guy's working after hours. He's putting the hard yards in. Evelyn's shooting off to dental school. He's putting himself in the shop window for that promotion, right?
So if you could have any guest in the world that you would have on your podcast, who would you have?
So I'm a huge what you call soccer fan. So I'm gonna go with.
What's your favorite team?
Manchester United.
Yeah, I have my season ticket just here, which unfortunately we're not allowed into the ground, but very sad. Season tickets here, unused. I would probably go with one of two. So either Sir Alex Ferguson, so the big guy, or Cristiano Ronaldo, because those two guys are just.
I know that. Yeah.
She's getting excited there. There we go. Yeah, but they're guys with huge drive. Kind of drive for success in a very highly competitive field, where you've got to have your mind on point, your mentality, your physicality on point. You've got to manage people. You've got to be able to motivate your teammates or your players. So I think the whole thing is just fascinating. So that's probably my pick. For number one, there's tons of other guys I'd love to have on. So I think that's probably the biggest one.
Yeah.
What's some of the things you like to talk about? I mean, do you guys believe in aliens? Do you think there's aliens? I mean, we talk about that. We talk about this a lot.
We literally talked about this at dinner.
So we talk about this a lot on either our TikTok live. We talk about two things on our TikTok live a lot: aliens and ghosts. So there are two main topics that we have discussions about when we're live on our TikTok.
What about the birds? You want to tell them about the birds?
I know, that's so crazy.
I like crazy, so catch me up on the birds.
There's this guy with this big followings that all birds are fake, or the birds are not real, and he thinks that the government kills the birds and then replaces them with almost like
Like a
drones
drone bird,
to
a droney.
yeah, to kind of spy on people. And this guy actually had big billboards in LA that says the birds are fake or something like that. I mean, he spent lots of money on the post these billboards in LA, and I'm assuming it's satire, but he's been on multiple talk shows, and he seems to be legitimately think that all birds are fake and they're all planted by the government to essentially spy on everyone.
Why would they do that though?
Because the government.
I think he just thinks it's just like a privacy issue.
That's a really good question. See, this is why you're in the UK and we're not. So you guys bring up good questions.
Well, here's the thing about the UK, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we have a little bit more privacy in the US than you guys may have in the UK, right? Isn't there surveillance, like public surveillance in the UK? Don't you guys have like cameras controlled by the government that's kind of placed in the cities?
There's a lot of cameras in the cities, but they still don't seem to catch anyone who's done an actual crime. So
Imagine
Yeah.
that.
yeah, there was one really harrowing video I saw the other week. Someone who left their house, and there was someone trying to adopt a girl, and this lady, really brave lady, she basically chased this man, grabbed the girl back, and then this girl was crying and stuff. So there's supposedly like the most cameras in any city in the world in London, yet they don't catch anyone. So it's a bit weird. I think they're maybe protecting their own little properties and stuff, and everyone else can do one.
Do you think people feel like there's an invasion of privacy in London because of these cameras, or do you think that people have just gotten used to them and they just ignore them, that they're
People
there?
just don't care. Yeah. Brits don't really care about much unless people are pushing into queues. That's a big thing. Someone pushes into a queue in front of you, there's hell to pay. There's people kicking off left, right, and center. Queues are sacred in the UK, so that's one thing. If you come over here, you've got to go to the back of the line. You can't have a friend hold your place. That's not a thing. You generally have to go to the back with them. Otherwise, it's like some people will kick off. Some people don't care, but yeah, that's the thing. But the ghost thing and the UFO thing, aliens.
I'll tell you my take on that.
Yeah, go on.
My personal opinion. So I don't believe in ghosts. I don't think they're ghosts. The only scenario I think there's ghosts is if we live in like the Matrix right now. So we're in a simulation and where this is not base reality. Then I buy the fact that maybe they're ghosts, because maybe those are just like glitches in the program or whatever that may be, like rewriting itself on a hard drive and you get some ghost figure, right? Maybe. It's hard to argue that. How would you not believe there's a ghost, right? There's aliens, right? Look at how vast the universe is, and for us to think we're the only intelligent life in this vast universe.
Are you a religious man then?
Semi.
He prays every now and then.
Yeah.
You're in Texas, you have to be.
Yeah. I think the fifth on that one, but I'm not a non-religious person.
You're agnostic. You don't really know. So yeah, I think
I would probably think more that way.
I think that's a really interesting question because I'm religious as well. Or I am religious because you're not sure, and we have this idea of there maybe being a realm that we can't see, of other beings or whatever, and it'd be like angels and other beings that's like behind the veil. That I think this is again a Joe Rogan topic. People who go on DMT, they have these mad visions, but they all see the same thing in the same place. So it's possibly something that's been lifted, and they've seen something which is potentially not normally visible.
So the Matrix, support the Matrix is what you're saying.
So yeah, they've reached the next level.
You could convince me that we're in the Matrix before you probably convince me that there's ghosts. Yeah. But there's some people who claim to see ghosts, like our nurse. She's a big supporter of the ghosts. She claims to see ghosts.
Is this
so I don't
know. Evelyn, or are we talking to someone else?
No, this is Chanel. She's another. She's not here.
We'll not drag her through the mud too much then.
Right. Yeah. I'm not dragging her through the mud. That's what she believes. But definitely, what about aliens? Do you think there's? Aliens have nothing really to do with your religion, unless you just think that there's the one God we have only created us and no one else. if that's the theory.
I mean, it depends what you think of as an alien, right? Because if you've got like us, and then you believe in, you know, heaven and hell, and you believe in the devil, and you believe in angels and stuff, are you calling people who, you know, angels who maybe don't live on the earth or whatever you want to call it, are they aliens?
I don't know. You know, what if you consider an alien as someone similar to us that lives on another planet in another galaxy that's 100 million years advanced us? So they figured out how to travel from one dimension to the next, right? And these are the people who the sightings that you see of these UFOs around the Earth. What if we consider those aliens, not necessarily like ghosts and spirits and demons and things like that? Do you believe in those? Do you think there's other planets out there that people are
I
living
have
on?
no idea, and as long as they don't bother me, I'll let them be. So I'm.
But if you have to take a chance, you have to say I believe in aliens or I don't believe in aliens. You
Do you
have to
think
take a
there's
stance.
more than us?
I really don't know. Probably, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
His answer is yes.
So those UFO sightings that you see people see with the videos and the little disc and the photos, or the Navy pilot in the U.S. military who kind of locked onto that.
Oh, the thing that just went
that
crazy and just
flight-
disappeared and then went like really fast and then went somewhere else. That thing.
Yeah. What would be your explanation for those type of things?
Was he tripping balls?
Well, I mean, he may have been tripping balls, but they have the video footage of it, right? They have the video footage.
Yeah,
of it,
I
right?
couldn't tell you the explanation. It's crazy though. It's because, you know, he's obviously seen something, because there's a video. I couldn't tell you what it is. Yeah, no idea.
And that same guy, Joe Rogan. Did you see that Joe Rogan
Yeah,
podcast that he was on?
And I didn't watch the thing that he said you need to watch this and then the whole documentary about it yet. I just need to find the time to go down the rabbit hole with these things.
Yeah, I think personally that within the next 10 years, our government will come out and say, yeah, there's these people. We believe there are people from other states, and we may not communicate with them, but yeah, that's a legitimate thing. I think within 10 years that there's gonna be a public statement that says, yeah, there's some type of aliens out there. We just don't know much about them.
Yeah. So do you think, right, just slightly off topic here, obviously Elon Musk is trying to go and live on Mars. Would you go with him?
I would do the yeah, I don't know, why not? Why wouldn't you, right? I would do the space. You know, they're trying to do like civilian travel to space. I would pay for something like that.
Do you think you could get a discount? Be like, I'll stream it on TikTok.
Oh, I love, yeah. I pay full price though. I think even they let me. But you know, have you ever heard of the thing called the vomit comment before?
No, what's this?
So it's an airplane, like a 727 or 737, where they gut out all the seats on the airplane and they put pads on the floor and the ceiling, and there's a pilot and they do these parabolic dives up and down. So it simulates weightlessness. So as the plane's going down, it's essentially going the same speed of gravity. So you're weightless for essentially about 45 seconds to a minute, and then it flattens out and it goes back up and it does the same thing over and over. And they call it the vomit.
You're not strapped in.
No, you're not strapped in. You're just floating in space, like you're weightless for essentially 45 seconds to a minute. And there's a company called Zero G that does these experiences, and they use the actual airplane that NASA uses to train the astronauts. And I did that a few years ago, and that was fun.
That was fun. See, so I don't know if this is racist. I'm trying not to be racist here, but things like this, skiing, off-piste, skydiving, what are the other ones? What are the other ones? You know, water sports where they tie you to the back of a boat and go really fast?
Right, bungee jumping.
Yeah, these are what I call white people sports, because they're trying to go close to death, and I don't get it.
Right.
And
I don't get it.
You would never.
I'm the guy who drives, you know, under the speed limit. I set off an hour early. I drive slowly. I sit in the car. I have a little snooze before I go into where I'm going. And then these guys going, boom, 140 miles an hour. I just don't get it. I'm just like, I want to get there safe and sound. I'll take the very easiest route. And then there's people jumping out of planes and the parachute doesn't open. And like, I don't know, man. There's I read the other day.
I like those things, but at the end of the day, I think I'd rather die jumping out of an airplane than rot away in some nursing home somewhere for the last 20 years of my life. If I had to choose the two. You know?
I don't know how I got into this, but I read the other day about Niagara Falls And back in the 80s or something, they stopped it. And then they found the bodies of people in like barrels who tried to go down and survive it and stuff. And I was like,
Oh,
why? Yeah, there was like, why? Have you seen it? There's rocks down there. It's a lot of water, and you're not gonna survive. Why are you trying to do this? Like, there's one person who survived it. Some nun or something. I don't know what she did, but she managed to survive it. I was like, you people are crazy. Just look at it. Take the photo. Hit it. Stick it on the gram. There we go. Been there, done that. You don't need to jump off the damn thing.
The buildings on the rope. You know what I mean? The tight walkers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I think that's crazy. I don't know if I would do something like
man,
that. With a vomit comment, I mean, I'm assuming that this guy's probably a better than average pilot if he works for NASA. Yeah. And it's the same pilot that flies the astronauts, same plane that flies the astronaut. I'm like, okay, this is probably pretty safe. And this is an experience that not many people will ever do in their life. I mean, I'm probably one of, I don't know, 100,000 people in the world that's ever done this before. So I thought it was kind of a cool thing. They filmed a TV show when we were on it, so we were on the TV show when they filmed it.
What's the show?
It was, I mean, this has been years now, but it was a show on one of the American, it was like a TV show on one of the American networks here. And it's one of these adventure type TV shows. And because obviously doing the 0 G's a little bit over the top, that was on one of their episodes when they did it.
That's pretty cool. So your initial role, move into TV, social media space was being floating around like, I am Dr. Graves.
Oh yeah. What about you? What's the most outrageous thing you've ever done?
Would you ever come with us to do something outrageous if we invited you?
Would you bungee jump? Have you bungee jumped?
I don't know. Maybe I would. I'd maybe push one of you guys off first, see how it goes, and then maybe. I can't think of anything that I've done particularly crazy. I love go-karts. That's a lot of fun. You get to drive fast, and there's usually no one who's going to crash into you, unless they're a bit of a bell end, essentially. But yeah, that's one thing that's pretty fun. We have something called Go Ape, which is like zip wires. That's not bad. I quite like that.
Zip lining, we call it zip lining here. I mean, that's fun. Those are fun.
Yeah, and it's not high enough off the ground that you're gonna die if you fall off. So I'm thinking that's probably about my limit.
We have like the Six Flags over there.
Roller coasters. They have roller coasters over.
Ooh, where's the picture? I've not got the picture to hand, but there's a picture of me and my cousin on a roller coaster, and he's there like this, and then you see my face. And it's. It's not good. It's not good. Yeah. Do you know what it is? I like to be in control of the thing that's moving. So if there's, I have a control problem. If I've got the.
So you don't like being a passenger in a car?
Well, I hate it. Hate being the passenger. And they're going, why you tailgating? Why you so close to the person in front? Like, give some space.
Right.
Why taking this corner so
What do you think about? I have a Tesla. What do you think about Tesla? A lot of those cars have kind of almost self-driving.
I trust it. Yeah.
You do?
Yeah. Have you got beta yet? Have you got the FSD beta?
No, it's that.
So they're testing essentially hands-off driving from home to work, wherever you go, including what you call stop signs, and stuff like that. And there's some videos on Twitter, especially, that are insane. The guy's just sat there going, "Oh my god, it's doing the turn for me." Person walks in front, slows down, swerves around them, does everything. So,
it's amazing technology. Elon Musk is like an amazing person. You got to give it to that guy, because I mean he's one of the richest people in the world, and he's still working hard to improve the world around us. I mean, let's go to Mars, because he thinks that going to Mars is going to be great for humanity at some point. We'll need to go to Mars in order for our species to survive, right? And he's developing the Tesla. I mean, a great guy. I mean, all the stuff, all the mark he's leaving on this planet when he leaves. I mean, I think at the end of the day, gosh, wouldn't it be great to do something that when you're no longer around, people look back and say, "Hey, look, this Dr. Graves did these great things.
Yeah.
He made a difference in people's lives or the life of the society."
The way I see it, you can either be a Musk or you can be a Zuckerberg. That's the two.
Right.
So you got to pick your
Yeah.
side. Are you chasing after the dollar? Or are you chasing after the good feeling and
The dream.
and the dream and you giving people the good times and stuff? So yeah, I'm a big Moss fan. Have you seen the podcast with him on Rogan? That was a really good one. He's difficult to follow though.
He's
He's
so
a
good.
very strange guy.
I think he's just so smart. It's very difficult for him to talk to people, normal conversations with normal people, right? He's just so far out there. He really has to dial it back a lot to have a normal conversation with somebody.
Yeah, Cosmo's asking, love how the podcast is going. I think it's because we started talking about conspiracy theories and stuff. Did I expect to have it going this way? I like this stuff because it's kind of weird. And
you know, Cosmo could be an undercover agent for the U.S. government.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We really don't know a lot about Cosmo.
It really is really strange because he always knows when we're doing something. He's always the first to be there. So
Yeah.
Cosmo.
Yeah, so Cosmo
We
could-
might have to get Cosmo on this podcast and question him.
he may actually be a conspiracy guy. You know?
is it definitely a guy? Who do we know?
Yeah.
Yeah. As far as
Yeah, because I'm thinking if there's someone who's always on Dr. Graves' thing, it's probably Dr. Graves' mom.
Gosh, there's this.
That's probably what happened.
Yeah. You know, there's this crazy guy from England, David Icke, I think his name. Do you know have you heard of this guy?
I've heard the name, and is it?
Icke, ICK.
Yeah, I've
He's
heard of
just he's the guy that thinks all the royal family is a bunch of lizard people, or they drink lizard blood, and we're in a third dimension. I mean, it's a really, really crazy out there theories.
I mean,
and
they're a weird
concepts.
family. Let's give them that. They're a weird people. Especially, did you see? Well, I mean, obviously you guys have seen the Epstein thing. Do you think he killed himself?
No, of course he didn't
Good.
kill himself, right? Do you think he killed himself?
No, well, again, did you see the guy that put him in a cell with that huge guy? Ex cop
Yeah.
who looks like a gorilla or whatever. It's like, yeah, no, that didn't happen.
We're not telling you to kill him, but we're not telling you not to kill him. Okay?
Yeah, it's like, do you want a bit more space in your cell? You can make that happen.
You
It's
probably
all
won't,
in your hands.
yeah, you probably won't get in trouble if you kill this guy.
The camera might not be on. We don't know.
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, yeah. How can anybody believe that guy? I mean, I could see why that guy would potentially kill himself. Maybe. I mean, he had a lot of shit coming after
yeah.
him, and regardless of what secrets he revealed, it wasn't going to get him out of trouble. He was still going to go to prison probably for the rest of his life, regardless. So I mean, I could see why that guy would potentially say something like that, or why he would potentially kill himself. But do I think he did at the end of the day? No, I think somebody probably killed him.
Apparently, Cosmo works in IT, and that's enough said, according to Jab the Singer.
Yeah, exactly. You know. Mm-hmm.
That's all needs to be said.
Have you? Joe Rogan had this guy on the other day from Signal. Have you seen the texting app called Signal?
I've not. Is this one of the ones that's on Spotify? Because I've not started listening to the ones on Spotify yet.
No, it's similar to like WhatsApp. It's an encrypted texting, and you know in the U.S. we have HIPAA, and you know, I'm sure you guys have something similar in the U.K.
Yeah, we do.
And it's a HIPAA compliant app, so you can actually text back and forth information about patients, and you can send photos back and forth about patients, and everything's encrypted on both sides.
Okay.
And you can even set it so it automatically deletes the messages after 10 minutes or 2 days or whatever you want to do with it. And you can have group messaging that's all encrypted as well. And I mean, it's, like I said, you guys probably use WhatsApp a lot because that's a non-US texting
So there's,
thing.
there's WhatsApp, but me and my friends, weirdly, it's only the three of us that use it. We use Telegram quite a lot.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Really, really good. So if someone sends a YouTube video, the Telegram app will play it where the message has been sent. Like it doesn't send you outside the app, which is always useful if you want to reply whilst you're watching something. And also it has a secret chat, so as soon as you send the message and the person sees it, it goes, so you can't get screenshot. So that's quite cool. So we do that sometimes.
Remember Snapchat? Snapchat used to be like
Yeah.
that. Snapchat used to, you tried to screenshot it, would black it out. And wouldn't let somebody screenshot.
Yeah.
And then they switched it so that it would
Now it
let you
tells
screenshot it. It just tells you that they screenshot
Yeah,
it.
there's a workaround there. You could just record your screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Cosmo,
That's
did Cosmo just write that to you? Did he just tell you
Yeah,
that?
well.
it's kind of
sounds like something Cosmo would tell you.
Well, yeah, that happens. So yeah, no, I've not heard of this one. Is it good? Have you guys started using it?
I just did the podcast today with Joe Rogan talking about it, so I downloaded it. I like it. I mean, the whole thought of it is WhatsApp is owned by Facebook, and Facebook is notorious for selling people's information, and Signal doesn't. It's a nonprofit company, so it essentially works like WhatsApp, but they're not stealing your information.
That sounds good.
Which I mean, like Facebook say they're not.
They are. I mean, I was like the other day. I was talking to someone, I don't know, someone got engaged or something, and we're just talking about it, and my phone's there on the side. Next thing I know, I'm having engagement rings come up on my Instagram feed, and I'm just like, well, I'm single. It's not quite what I'm after. There's a couple of steps missing for this. So they're listening. They're listening to everything.
Though, right? It's really creepy. Do you use a VPN? Chris, you ever use a VPN?
I've used one before.
Yeah, you can get these VPNs on your phone because I mean, obviously the cell phone, and I think it's in England. The cell phone companies report all the data from your cell phone to the government has access to all that information.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
The ping, what tires your phone pings off of, what web pages are accessed from your phone. I mean, I think especially in England that the government has access to all those things.
It's really strange how they still can't catch any actual criminals.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah, they're just trying to profit off us. See what they can make us buy on Amazon and eBay and the like.
Yeah, like an engagement ring or something.
I wonder if you just got a satellite phone, if that would be a workaround, because obviously you're pinging off of a satellite in space. You're not pinging off a cell phone tower as you're driving. That doesn't change. You're always going to the same satellite all the time. But I don't think the satellite phones have quite the technology ready for that. I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro a couple of years ago, and I took a satellite phone with me on the trip, and it was pretty. I used it the whole time I was on the trip. You could text on it. It was unlimited texting. You could call on it.
YouTube?
But it wasn't a smartphone, so you couldn't have that stuff. But I'm assuming at some point they're going to have the technology where you can have a smartphone that's also a satellite phone.
Well, isn't that what Elon Musk wants to do with this whole Starlink project?
Is that what it is? Is that what it is?
I run out of brain space to understand what he's trying to do because he's got the thing that he wants to put in your brain. What's it called? Neuralink. Then he's got Starlink. Yeah. He's got obviously Tesla, which is cool. He's got the tunnels running under LA. Was it Vegas?
It's LA. They want to do that.
And then he's got something else as well. SpaceX. So he's doing loads of stuff, right? So I think he's probably going to tick that off as well. Maybe try and take on Verizon. So the Starlink,
is that just conceptually there's just satellites everywhere, and that's how you communicate with. Essentially it's free Wi-Fi for everybody, right?
Yeah. So Cosmo, the IT guy, is helping us out here. He goes, Starlink is to provide internet without the cables, but you still have to set up a dish.
So to me, the way I look at it is, I think at some point, internet Wi-Fi will be free for everybody. Yeah. And the government will say, there's so much stuff that you have to do online that it's not fair for people not to have the internet. You know what I mean? You can't use that as an excuse. So you can't say, well, I didn't do my driver's license because I don't have the internet. The government at some point is just going to give it away for free.
Isn't that a great way to maybe, I don't know, voter suppression and stuff like that? Oh, the poor people can't afford internet. Okay, they can't vote.
No, seriously, yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? I don't think there's online voting right now, but definitely online voter registration right now for sure.
Well, I know there were certain issues in the UK with people who couldn't get identification and couldn't get things sorted out in time for voting and stuff. So there's definitely people who are trying to play the system that way.
You guys have a lot of voter fraud issues in the UK like we do in the US.
So what's interesting is the party that lost, every single one of their posts had registered to vote, make sure you vote. And the party that won was actively trying to confuse the issue and when to vote and stuff. And didn't ever ask anyone to sign up because they already know how they have their base and they're just trying to appease the base. So they managed it. So we've got Boris Johnson, who's essentially a clown. Yeah. Work for the...
But the whole thing with Elon Musk and the tunnels in LA, have you guys heard about that? Yeah. So essentially, Elon Musk says we can't make cars that fly. You can do drones, but they just create too much wind and chaos, and it's just not. It just doesn't make any sense to have a bunch of flying cars. However, you can dig tunnels. You can go as deep as you want to in the earth. And you can dig these tunnels that connect cities to cities, and essentially you can go as fast as you want to in these things once you figure out the
Once
technology.
it's autonomous, yeah.
So you can actually, yeah. So I mean, that's an interesting concept. I mean, golly, does it seem like they could do that in our lifetime? Does it? Just like a feat to dig a tunnel from like L.A. to New York. You know, just golly. I mean, can you do that in our lifetime?
I think he's gonna try, isn't he? He'll try.
Oh yeah. Now there's a tunnel that goes from England to France.
Oh yeah,
right?
that's really old as well. It's not new. It's called Channel Tunnel. So you can't actually drive it, but you can drive onto a train, which will then take you across, I believe. It's pretty cool. So shall we talk about the thing that we were talking about off air? Because you were like, do you think 5G causes coronavirus?
Oh gosh.
So much.
I mean, I personally, I don't think it does. But there was a legitimate conspiracy around the States that people were really thinking that this 5G was causing all these cases of coronavirus. And I don't know how the two of those, maybe Cosmo knows, but I don't know how the two of those are connected. How 5G causes this coronavirus.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of this particular conspiracy theory. I think it's a bit too wacky.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that were, setting fire to 5G towers in the UK. Well, there are a couple anyway, setting fire to 5G towers in the UK. So there's definitely a little bit of like, people believed it, and they were going after the towers early doors.
How are things right now?
Yeah, what's coronavirus like for y'all?
For you guys right now?
We have just come out of second lockdown.
Right.
So we'll have to see. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. We're kind of at the same point as where we went in. So it doesn't really make any sense, but yeah, but we're just trying to stay safe. I stay at home, keep grandma away from other people and stuff like that. So that's our thing.
How's that affecting your practice?
Well, I didn't go back after the first coronavirus lockdown. So I left the NHS job, which I was thinking about doing anyway, because I didn't quite like the way it was working. And it was like, oh, this is a great time for me to go, okay, I'm going to go a different way. Put a lot of my time into Instagram, tripled the Instagram numbers, and then gone full steam ahead with the YouTube. So
you getting bored? Staying busy doing that?
I think you're staying busy.
I'm trying to stay busy. I'm now doing... So I did a 24-hour podcast with Charity on the 1st of August. That was insanity. We had, I think, 74 guests from across the world.
Oh,
so
wow.
The idea was I come on, I run it, and the guests keep me entertained. And we raised like £5,000 for refugees across the world, to have dental treatment in one of the biggest camps. So that's one thing. And now this month I'm doing 150 miles walking. Not every day, over the month. So so it takes 2 hours out. So I'm pretty knackered after that. Just have a little nap.
Do you walk outside or do you walk on a treadmill?
It's got to be outside because they do it outside. So the whole point is to like raise awareness for the plight of people. So that's what we're up to this month. But it's good. There's content around it. You can talk about loads of things and get ideas out there. And it's a great time to actually catch up with friends. It's outside, so there's low risk of catching something. So I've had a couple of...
LA just banned walking. You can't walk in LA anymore. You can't even go outside. You're not allowed to walk.
I didn't like this about America. So I came to Chicago for Midwinter meeting back in February. And the one thing I realized is that outside the big city, you have to take a car to go one place to another. You can't build like a supermarket or a grocery store where the houses are. It has to be somewhere else, doesn't it?
Right, yeah.
Like,
somewhere like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I can walk 5 minutes down the road to get everything I need for food, whatever, and then walk back. In the States, you just can't do that.
No, right. You guys have more of like towns and townships, more communities.
Yeah.
We have here, I think.
Yeah, but I would have thought you could put like on the end of a street, you could have like a shop. Like you get your milk and eggs.
Well, you would, but then Walmart would put you out of business in like 6 months because they would sell the same item for half the cost that you're able to buy because you're a business owner.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? So that was one thing that I really noticed. Like everyone has to have a car in the States, whereas in the UK you can pretty much get away without it if you really wanted to. Most people do, but
I mean, really, like New York's about one of the few places in the U.S. where a lot of people don't have cars because it's similar explanation you just had. Plus, parking's a nightmare when you get in the New York. But that's one of the few places in the U.S. that kind of is like what you described.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense. People are willing to drive half an hour to go to Walmart. That's crazy to me. That's like oh, that's my entire there and back. I've gone around the shop and then I've whatever. So yeah, it's been a bit different when I went to the States. I loved the people though. Honestly, that was my favorite part. I essentially came to network. It was a networking trip to Midwinter meeting. Great fun.
So you've been to Chicago. Where else in the States have you been?
Miami Airport back in 2010. We were detained.
Okay.
Of course. That's a long story. I probably shouldn't go into on air. Then there was, we flew into Toronto one time, went to my uncle's wedding, or my auntie's wedding, and with the person who's now my uncle. So that was really fun. Did the whole Niagara Falls thing, which is why I thought about it when you don't want to jump in off the waterfall. So there was that. And then we've got family in South Carolina, so I went there first this time. Then I went to Detroit, again family there, and then to Chicago and then back home. So I've had a bit of a mix. Went to the old Myrtle Beach. It's freezing, but good fun.
Oh, Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've been there before. It's a little bit. It's kind of like a redneck place, right?
Yeah. It was a bit different. It was a bit different.
A lot of pickup trucks, a lot of tank tops, a lot of tattoos.
Yeah. Do you know when we started this podcast and I just went on air, I was thinking, should I come out with a bit of a Midwestern twang when I come out with, the Billy Graves and this is Dr. Billy.
So do we have a twang when we talk? Do you notice an accent for us?
A little, but it's not like...
Definitely. Yeah, we can hear your accent when you're speaking.
So I think I'm quite neutral. I think I don't have much of an accent.
You kind of do.
Yeah,
you do.
You do.
With you,
who has a great English accent? Angel.
Oh yeah,
great.
right.
He's crying.
Yeah, go ahead. Do it.
Go for a couple times, eh?
what was that?
Exactly. What was that? I thought it was pretty good.
Who did the voiceover? Was for the last video?
Valerie. Oh wait, no. Okay, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it was me.
Chris does most of the voiceovers.
He's pretty good.
That wasn't bad. That wasn't bad. But yeah, you guys haven't got a strong accent. I can still understand what you're saying. Whereas when you go to more redneck country, you're really starting to struggle a little bit.
Right. So that Neuralink, would you do that? Would you get the Neuralink put in?
No, I don't need some.
What if it worked? If it worked, would you do it?
Again, like the jumping out of planes thing, I'm gonna let a good couple of million people try it for a few years first.
Are you gonna get the COVID vaccine?
Eventually, we're very low down on the list anyway, so it's going to be most of the population will get it before people my age. Yeah.
Right, but you're a healthcare provider, so that puts you up on the list if you want to get the vaccine.
Yeah, I'm out of job though, so at the moment I'm off the hook.
You're still a dentist to us, man.
Yeah, Dr. Billy's going to come over and be like, "Here's your jab."
Yeah, I don't think I would get the vaccine right away. What's your blood type? Do you know what your blood type is?
I actually don't. I should find that out. I should find that out. I'm sure my parents know.
Yeah, I have O blood, which depends on the study. Some people say that having O blood makes your symptoms a lot less severe if you do get contract COVID-19.
So I heard that the issue was a lot to do with your vitamin D levels, especially for people who have more pigments in northern latitudes. So we have a real issue with, Black and Asian people in the UK. Oh, by the way, when we say Asian in the UK, we mean people from like India, not Far East Asia. So that always gets confused.
Right.
So we found that of the healthcare professionals who were getting it, the people from, had basically more melanin skin, darker skinned people were getting the symptoms way worse outcomes. And it seems it's the vitamin D because your skin doesn't absorb it the further north you go. So that might be something.
Right.
She's getting
And
worried
look,
there.
as
She's
we
going,
age,
"Am I safe?"
yeah. But as we age, our vitamin D levels go down, way down
Yeah.
anyway. So most people over a certain age are always going to be deficient in vitamin D unless you really take a lot of supplements when it comes
We're
to vitamin
popping
D. I
those
mean,
pills.
right,
Mhm.
I've just switched over all my pills to liquid forms of vitamins. I have all these vitamin supplements I try to take every single day, and I get sick and tired of swallowing like 10 pills a day. So now I've switched everything over to
How
liquid
does that
form. I just
taste?
have a drop. I just drop it in my mouth and I'm
Oh,
done.
it's not like a little cocktail you're making, with an
No,
olive.
no. I mean, it's amazing. Like you can take a vitamin D pill, or it's one drop on the droplet. Is equivalent
What
to
else are you
it.
taking then? Because I've got a few things that I'm on.
Well, right now I'm doing zinc just because of the whole COVID thing
Yeah.
that's going on. I do vitamin D3. I do what
That's
do you
my
got
zinc.
there? Zinc.
ZM.
Yeah, I get the liquid zinc. I mean, you just squirt it on your tongue.
You're not putting it up
you
your
know?
nose, by the way. That's not the way.
No, no, you can't. Theoretically, I guess you could. You could drop it in your eye if you wanted to. I guess. But then I do NMN. If you watch that Sinclair, I forget his first name, and he was on Joe Rogan talking about life extension and longevity, and one of the big supplements he takes is NMN. So I do that as a
What's
supplement
that,
as
like
well.
magnesium, something else in there as well?
No, it's not magnesium, and I don't have it right in front of me, but it works on your mitochondrial DNA, on the mitochondrial level as far as the anti-aging process is concerned.
Yeah, no,
So I do.
I've not seen that one. I really like the one with Rhonda Patrick. If you've seen that, and she's the lady who's crazy on cruciferous vegetables, which is broccoli, Brussels sprouts, and those things. And then she's crazy about sauna as well. So that's something that before COVID, I was doing like half an hour sauna a day when I go to the gym.
Right. And we're building our new facility that we have, and it's going to have an IR sauna in this
Oh,
facility that
infrared.
we're
You're not
building.
going old school Swedish.
No, I think that infrared, just maintenance wise, is a lot easier. It's definitely a lot cheaper
Yeah.
than doing like traditional type sauna, and there's less maintenance on it. You get less mold and less other things to
It
worry
sounds
about.
like you're building my dream practice, by the way. You've got a podcast studio, you've got a green screen, you've got a few specialists in there.
Well, so the building that we're talking about is not going to have any treatment in it whatsoever. So it's strictly a business office.
Sounds good. So it sounds like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I do. All the patient journeys and stuff like that. So sounds exciting. It sounds really exciting. Whereabouts are you going to be with that?
So we're building at an airplane. So it's in an airport that we're building it, and it's an airplane hangar. So the back part is a hangar for airplanes, and then the front part of it is this business office that we're creating.
So is it in a plane? Like actually in a plane?
No. It's just a hangar that you store
that
the
would have
plane.
been really
So
cool if you. That would have been really cool. I think there's a restaurant somewhere where they've gutted an old plane and just plonked it down, and they essentially come and serve you in the seats. Really weird, but it's a bit cool. Yeah.
That now.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
You can also make a lot of money if you do get one of these old private planes. Just chop it and drop it down, and then these Instagram people will come and pretend they're on a private plane.
The fake planes, and they rent planes. And,
yeah, have you seen that?
yeah,
There's one in LA.
Yeah, all these big people on Instagram who pretend that that's their jet, but it's really not. They're just paying things in front of it.
They've got the glasses on. Where are my glasses gone? Oh, I've lost them. They've got the glasses on. They've got the Gucci handbag or whatever. Was it Louis Vuittons? Am I getting this all right?
You do.
Yeah, we could go on and on about the effects that we think social media is having on our society, which is definitely lots of negative effects that you see.
Yeah. How do you think how are things in the States when it comes to social media actually? Because over here we're pretty bad for certainly with the younger guys getting bullied on social media and parents just don't see it. Is that something you're aware of? Because you're in with the TikTok generation. You're hip, right?
I think you see a lot of depression and anxiety issues in younger populations more so now than you did 20 years ago. I mean, just by patient population, I bet you probably, 10, 15% of teenage kids are probably on some type of antidepressant or some anti-anxiety medication. And I've seen that kind of go up dramatically over the years since I've been practicing. And I think it has a lot to do with social media. I think there's a lot more social pressure now growing up than there was when I was that age.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously on social media, you see these people living these fantastic fantasy lives, and obviously people aren't posting the negative things in their life. And the average normal person looks at those, and if they don't have a Louis Vuitton handbag, or they don't drive a BMW, or they don't have a big house, and they don't fly in a private jet, then they just don't feel fulfilled with their life, because what they see is that people who are happy have these things, and if I don't have these things, maybe I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So I think media is to blame for a lot of depression that you see in younger people these days.
Yeah, and unfortunately the girls seem to be more affected by this. I think that's probably true to say, because guys can kind of like get over it a little bit. I think girls are much more attuned to fitting in with a crowd. Is that am I wrong in saying this, Evelyn?
No, I agree. I think as a girl, you want to look like this and have hair like
You want to look like
this.
Evelyn, is that what you're saying?
No,
You just have to look like this.
What a strange thing to say.
You have to do this.
no, I agree with what y'all are saying. I really do.
I think we all fall into that to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Everybody something on social media and you don't get as many likes as you thought, or Chris posted something on TikTok and I'm like, dude, you're just wasting my time. We only got 100,000 views on this thing. You may as well not even come to work
Only
today.
100,000?
We could clip that up, Chris. You only got me 20,000 views today. We're wasting my time.
Wasting my time. What am I paying you for?
Yeah.
What am I paying you?
And the thing is, it's really, really difficult, because I'm probably to blame in some ways on some level, because look, most of my photos are edited at some point, whether it's coloring, whether it's adding a hot air balloon where there wasn't one, which I've done a couple of times and people haven't noticed. I've added planes in, I've added birds in, I've taken people out of photos, I've changed the color of my shirt, all sorts of things. So
it's weird, but you didn't do any of that with Dr. Gray's photo. You didn't take the time and care for Dr. Gray's photo.
No, the point is, I'm saying this is crap you need to be doing. You're a professional.
Can I tell you what I almost did? Because when I was slightly pissed off about the whole thing about my inbox is ruined, I almost photoshopped a basketball into your hands. I was thinking, I was like, but then obviously I ate some food and then I found it funny, so I didn't go ahead with the initial plan.
It was hard.
It's always an important thing. You write the text you want to send when you're upset, and then you wait 30 minutes and reread it and say, do I really want to send this? It's really what I want to do. Let me think about it for 30 minutes.
Oh, honestly, great beef.
But I'm always like that with Chris. I'm always like, Chris, we need professional lighting in this thing. I was like, why are we doing videos? We don't have the lights up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm more of a perfectionist when it comes to this kind of stuff. I want things to be the next level up. I don't want to do things
as we
like
sit here, I'm thinking, is my lighting a little bit low? I'm just like, I don't want to jump up and change it, but I've been running through it, and this has been in the back of my head. Goes, is my face too orange and dark? I don't know.
But me, with anything, if you want to be successful at anything, you got to fully commit. You can't half-ass it and think you're going to be successful.
Yeah, you have to have the sign in the background, and you have to have all these.
We full asset. We're full assing around here.
Yeah.
You need a sign like that.
Yeah, that's us full assing.
Yeah, full assing.
Right here,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's good. We have a couple of comments from Cosmo. There's a lot of comments from Cosmo. I'll pick the best ones, because we've got a good one. I showed up to a date. She stood me up. I asked if I was too early, and she said I should lose weight. Wow.
Just don't take it to heart, Cosmo. Next girl.
What? Cosmo?
We're close to the next one.
No.
But he says
we'll give you a blanket.
his video went viral on the back of it, so swings and roundabouts, eh?
Look at that. There you go.
Nice.
What's the worst thing someone said to you?
Like on social media?
Anywhere. Let's go with on social media and then in person, and we'll see the difference between what people say.
Golly. What's some of the crazy stuff patients say? I'm not around. Would they say anything bad about me? They're always nice to me when I'm near their face. Do they ever say anything bad about me?
No. I thought we were talking about like DMs.
Oh, golly, I don't know.
I mean,
Oh,
no, you'll get
DMs,
negative
wow.
comments on TikTok.
I mean, you probably read those more than I do. I try not to read into those things
me
too
either,
much.
honestly.
you know?
Because some people are harsh. Like they were coming for you, they come for us.
So
Right.
I'll give you guys a little secret because the people who are watching this far are going to find this interesting. I post a lot of quite attractive people on that page. And sometimes people don't realize that I am not that attractive lady.
They think that you're the girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So there's a thread on my
Mhm.
there's a thread on my Twitter of the weirder DMs and comments that we get.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And I kept it quiet for the most part, and I'll drop it in, later on in podcast because the people who, are watching this far in are clearly not thinking I'm those girls, so we're safe. We're in the safe zone here. We can say what we want.
No, I'll get messages from people who think that's Evelyn's Instagram or that's Angel's Instagram. I'll get, because when we make fun of Angel, people will comment, "Oh, I feel so sorry for you. I wish they were nice to you." You know?
Yeah.
They'll call doctors too. Like everyone's a doctor, Angel's a doctor.
Dr. Angel.
No, but I try not to read into. I realize that if I went on there and I responded and commented back on a lot of those comments, it's going to help the algorithm, and the video is going to be more successful. A, I don't have the energy to do that, and two, I try not to do that. When people say something negative, it drives me nuts. You know what I mean?
Snarky.
Sometimes I'll really like give it to them right. I'll give it right back to them. You know what I mean? And I'm like, I can't be doing that.
Yeah.
I can't be doing that.
Look at your comments. It's funny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm thinking. Have you guys seen the new trend where there's that song that people are replying to weird DMs with?
No.
Tell us.
So
what?
it's and let me get the actual lyrics up. But I'm thinking that all these weird DMs I get, I'm now gonna do the song challenge with and see what they start saying.
Yeah.
Which will can someone tell me what the actual song's called? Because I haven't found it yet. Let's have a look.
You're supposed to know these
He
things.
probably knows Cosmo.
Yeah, ask
Cosmo.
Cosmo.
Cosmo, what's the song?
Yeah.
It's like Ruin Our Friendship song. Okay, right. So it goes like this. Hey, darling, you're my best friend. And you wait for them to reply. But there's a few things that you don't know of. Again, wait for them to reply. Why I borrow your lipstick so often. So it gets a bit weird from a guy in the DMs. So they just thinking, what's going on? Then it's, I'm using your shirt as a pillowcase. And then this is where they're going to get the hook now. I want to ruin our friendship. Wait, we should be lovers instead. And hopefully we'll get some really amusing responses off the back of this. So I think this is my next step in the TikTok world.
We can do that.
So I think this is going to be my running theme because I get some really weird comments and really weird DMs. Including pictures, unfortunately.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that happened once.
I can say that.
You can
We get there's some days we get 100, 200 messages on our TikTok in one day.
There is one guy that goes in our lives and he always asks to see our feet.
Yeah, it always looks like everybody's feet. He's like a foot
see
fetish. He's like a foot
He
fetish.
loves your feet specifically.
Really? Oh my god.
Oh, have you seen?
Yeah. Shut up.
Focus on the.
No.
Yeah.
I don't look at the comments either, actually.
So what time is it there in the UK?
We hit midnight. I'm good to go till whenever you guys are bored of me. So whatever.
We're good.
We're all again, I did 24 hours, so if you can last it out, so can I.
Yeah.
Oh god. No, we work in a couple hours.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
actually have this morning. We're doing surgery all day tomorrow.
Yeah, I won't keep you too long, but yeah, that was a crazy day. I only had 3 cups of tea, so not even coffee.
Oh, wow.
There's something wrong with me, so maybe I need a scan for a tumor, mate.
So
And I'll come
would
to
not
you.
do the Neuralink, just officially, you would not do the Neuralink.
I don't think so. I think I want to be a normal guy.
What if everybody else did the Neuralink and everybody's 100 times smarter than you all of a sudden? Then you're just like, everybody looks at you like you're the family dog after some point, right? They're so smart. They're looking at you like you're the family dog because you're the only person that doesn't have this Neuralink with all the information at the tips of your finger. in any given time.
Do you not think that's kind of well? Again, I'm not going to try not to offend too many people here, but like people are a little bit more dumb. Do you not think they enjoy life more?
People are dumb, enjoy life more. I don't know.
I'm gonna say like people are maybe a little bit dumber and enjoy life more. They don't think about things. They're just like, I'm gonna go do something, you know, whatever. Don't think about the consequences. Just get out there. So if you're now the dumbest guy in the room, would that not be way more fun?
Yeah, I don't know. But if you're a doctor, right? You're a doctor, and people are looking for medical advice, and every other dentist has the answer to every question that the patient has, and you're like, I don't know what it is. I don't have my Neuralink. You know what I mean? I don't have the Neuralink. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe then maybe then I'm stuck, and maybe that could be my selling point. I'm like, I'm a real guy. I'm not using some tech to make me smarter. And the people who don't everyone who doesn't like Neuralink comes to me.
Yeah, come see me. I don't know the answer. Sometimes I mess up. That's the fun part. That's the fun part of coming to me.
Yeah. I think I need to know more about this Neuralink, whether he's going to try and control your mind with it, because hopefully he doesn't turn into Zuckerberg. So again, we're on that line.
Yeah, I think it's more like it's connected to the internet at all the time. So when someone says, ask you a question, and instead of you looking up,
so you're like a Siri.
You're like a Siri, then you can think, and the answer will essentially come to you because you're connected to a server somewhere.
Would you get the Neuralink?
I'm like him. I wouldn't do it right away, but I mean, if everybody gets it, I mean, what are you going to do, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're already worried about people, you know, getting into. You can't install a VPN on your Neuralink, can you? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. Maybe you can. Right? Maybe you can. Right?
I think it would send people insane. You don't think it would send people insane? Just like, oh, you think of something and boom, it's there in front of you, and like, oh, I've thought of something else now. Because I have weird trains of thought, and if every time I thought of something, it came in front of me, I would lose my shit.
That's a good point. You know, I mean, they think at some point they'll be able to download your consciousness. At some point, I don't know if that's going to happen in our lifetime.
Absolutely, I'm going to draw the line there and bin that. You know, at some point, I'm going to be bored of this place.
Yeah, but you know what? If your consciousness is downloaded to, let's say, some computer somewhere, then they can change that place if they want to.
Yeah.
You know, you can be whatever utopia you want it to be at that point.
Yeah, things might get a bit weird then, right?
You could be doing root canals every day in that utopia.
My arms could be files.
Exactly. You could be doing root canals all day long in that utopia. You know, who knows, right?
Reality is going to be lit with that Neuralink for sure.
Right. You know.
That's crazy.
I don't know. What do you think? You think we're in base reality right now, or you think we're in a simulation?
Again, like, so when people die, so we're going to get really meta here, aren't we? So when people die, obviously, like, they lose consciousness, and where does that go? So do you call that, is everything a simulation, or, so it can be both the same, you can be both real and not real at the same time, do you think?
Maybe. I mean, the whole concept of energy is not created or destroyed, and when you die, your energy is not, it doesn't leave, your energy just transforms to something else, if you want to think of it that way. But I don't know. I mean, when you do like a virtual reality game right now, it's pretty realistic, but you know it's a video game at the end of the day. It's not tricking you. You know you're playing this game. You know you have this headset on, and you know it's not real, right?
Well, the test would be to stick it on your grandma and, you know, get her to wear the VR goggles and see if she freaks out. That would be the level. Okay, is it real enough now? Because we're used to playing video games, whereas my grandma's never played a video game.
I don't think your grandma would say that was real. You know what I mean? Because she's not used to playing video games. She doesn't know the technology. I mean, anything you show her, you put a Nintendo VR on her face, and she's going to think it's like amazing, right?
Yeah.
But I think that, and this technology is probably new within the last 20, 30 years. So, I mean, look how far in within 30 years we've come on this technology to the point where it's real enough that it's cool, but we know it's fake. And let's extrapolate that 1,000 years from now. Do you think in 1,000 years you can put a virtual reality headset or whatever it is by then, and for all intents and purposes, you won't know if it'll seem real to you? Do you think that technology 1,000 years from now will exist?
I think you can't be far off now, surely, because I mean, did you watch Avatar, for example? Again, it's the blue people are really fake, but everything else looks pretty damn real. So if you can make that in 3D, it's not going to be far till you can do something which is a little bit more immersive and maybe tricks your mind. So
so maybe maybe 100 years from now, we have technology that's so advanced that your brain is tricked into thinking whatever simulation that you're creating with that VR is the real world, right? And probably to the point where you can feel pain, you can probably taste things to a certain extent, right? Because all these
There's
are
not
just
a guy with
neurons
a
in your
pipette
brain.
dropping like ketchup in your mouth.
Right. So if you can do that in 100 years, who's to say that we're not 1,000 years from now and we're just in that simulation that's created at some point in the future?
Well, we might be, might we?
Well, maybe that's my point.
Maybe that's
How do
what
we
you
know
call
we're not?
life, though, because.
Right.
And then if you're religious, you'd say, well, all of this is a test anyway, wouldn't you? And again, so maybe life is a simulation.
Right.
Right. Uh-huh. And maybe the afterlife's a simulation as well. You know, maybe these people a million years from now, they have some morality thing that says, okay, we have these people in the simulation and they really believe they're real, even though they're not real people. We have a certain ethical morality about us to do something with these people in the simulation. So maybe we create a simulated heaven that people go to whenever they die. And based on whatever their religious beliefs are in our game, that's how we're going to base the afterlife on. Because there are these weird studies that show that people who have these near-death experiences, they see whatever is consistent with their religion. If you're a Christian, you see God. If you're a Muslim, you see, Allah. If you're, I don't know, Hindu, your near-death experience is very consistent with what your religious belief is. And you can go to people who believe in Hindu and who've had near-death experiences, and that experience will be very consistent to what their religion tells them it needs to be. So maybe the people who did the simulation, maybe they're just creating these afterlives for these simulated people in this simulated world we live in, just as a morality thing.
Here's an interesting thought.
We'll let these people die.
Here's an interesting thought, because actually, as a Muslim, you believe that there's been, thousands of prophets, for example. So
right,
all of these different religions would essentially be the same thing, but refreshed over time. Maybe like, I don't know, you might call it iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you want to call it, get the updates, whatever, and at some point everything finishes. So those could all be the same thing, but over time you get Chinese whispers and people change words and rewrite things, etc., etc. So it could well be.
right. And you think about, like, the Earth is what, billions of years
Is the
old?
Earth flat?
Just say the Earth. Oh no, I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's
What?
You think the Earth is flat?
No, I said you see.
No,
I don't know.
no. I don't know how people believe that. I don't know how people believe the Earth is flat.
Right.
Right. Obviously, you have to be a very religious person to believe that that's even a possibility, right? Most flat earthers are very right-wing religious people. The only possibility that the Earth would be flat is that you have some God controlling when this light bulb comes up on one side of the planet and rotates to the other one. I mean, there's a mechanism. There's no physics behind it. It's controlled by some supernatural being.
My favorite one with the Earth is flat thing is the Earth is a flat, but it's a disc, but it spins like a frisbee on your finger, so it's actually round.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious.
Not any different than seeing a globe, right? It's just,
No, that's
no. That's probably the most. There's the crazy conspiracy theories are the Earth is flat is the most outlandish one, and I think the second one is that people in the States believe that there's these chemtrails. Have you heard about this?
Oh yeah. I've watched lots of YouTube. I end up going, basically when I'm bored. What happens is I go on YouTube and I watch a video, and then I watch the next video, and I watch the next video, and it gets weird. And I've been through all of chemtrails, been through all of Madeleine McCann, something that we had in the UK. There's I can't remember, but there's a girl that I had on my podcast, and there's a belief in her state that underneath the airport is a secret city.
Oh, there is in Denver, Colorado. They think that there's a bunker under the airport.
That might be it. Yeah, so I've been through that one as well. But yeah, chemtrails is the weirdest one, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that just seems like so far-fetched that people really believe that the government could be used in airplanes to pollute the air around us and essentially mind. There's the thing about fluoride. People believe that fluoride in the water is like the government controlling people. That's why they put the fluoride in the water. Are there fluoride in the water in the UK?
Some places, yeah. We had a...
Is it?
Yeah, we had a 20-year longitudinal study in Newcastle, which is the university I went to, and there's certain areas which are fluoridated and certain areas which weren't, and the DMFT, which is the measure, I don't know if you have the same measure, decayed, missing, filled, or teeth, yeah. And there was a huge discrepancy between the two. Obviously, the more affluent the area became, the less the effect was, because the more affluent you are, the less likely you are to be having lots and lots of what you call, is it chips? You call it chips and crisps, or candy, whatever you want to call it. You know, bad food.
Yeah. Right.
So,
yeah, the richer you are, the healthier
Yeah.
you eat, right? Essentially.
this is what rich people do.
Right. Yeah. But the whole chemtrail thing, I mean, I think that's a crazy conspiracy. I mean, I don't really believe that one. I mean, we have the JFK conspiracy here. People think Kennedy was shot by the government. That's probably legit. There's a big conspiracy that people think that we really never went to the moon, that we just faked the moon landing.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some lot of stuff that feels like you could support.
Which is the one that you believe the most, and you will fight someone to the death about it, or maybe to the TikTok comments about it.
It's aliens.
Aliens. Oh, aliens. So, yeah,
Aliens.
for sure. There's aliens out
The JFK one's
Yeah.
funny.
I've never seen them. I've never been followed by one, but I'm pretty sure that they exist.
I like the JFK one, or I don't like it because he got shot. Obviously, that's not good. But
Yeah.
but I have seen a lot of stuff on that, and you know they've done like TV shows. What was the one they did recently with, like, is it James Franco? Is that his name?
Yeah.
Is it Dave Franco?
yeah.
James Franco.
Yeah,
It's
it's
James
Franco.
Franco. Oh, Dave Franco's the dumb one, isn't he? He's the one who's a bit of a pretty boy, but doesn't seem so serious. But that was a really good series.
Mhm.
That's an interesting one, because you've got the idea that maybe there's a guy behind. Is it the grassy knoll? And then
Right.
you've got the guy up in the tower, and there's possibly another shot from somewhere else. And like, how many shots were there?
Yeah, there's this funny comedian that talks about that every time we get a new president, the new president goes in this room and he meets with these people he's never met
Yeah.
before, and they sit at this table and they play the JFK video, but they play it from an angle that no one's ever seen before, and they show like the guy who shoots JFK, and then they stop the video and they say, "Okay, do you have any questions now?" And he's like, "Okay, we'll do it." It's essentially saying, "Okay, the president's gonna do whatever we tell him to do, no matter who gets elected." That's not a conspiracy theory. That's just some idiot comedian saying
That's
that. But,
now a conspiracy theory. I'm
can see-
backing that one to the hilt. You heard it here first. It's real. It happens. I actually saw the car. Do you know the motorcade? It's in Henry Ford Museum.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, really? In Detroit?
Yeah, in Detroit. They reupholstered things and cleaned it though. I thought they
Right, yeah,
maybe
you
wouldn't
think
have done.
Yeah. So the Queen of England and the royal family, do they do anything? I mean, what are their roles in England? Do you think they have a lot of political power? Think they can change the law if they want to?
Supposedly the Queen can do whatever the fuck she wants, essentially. But she tends not to. Like, apparently there's like a rule where she can basically take any land she wants, and she's like, yeah, I'm the Queen, so you do one. But she doesn't really do it, and I don't really know. I know there's a lot of stuff about. There was a whole conspiracy actually about Princess Diana. I'm sure you lived through that one.
Hold on.
He's running.
Who's at my house? Hold on.
Okay, talk to me. We'll talk to you.
Princess Diana.
This is Princess Evelyn, who can also do whatever she
Princess
wants.
Evelyn,
Not
who's
really.
everyone has to look like this on Instagram.
No.
Someone is
What are the people?
Someone's asking about how do you feel about deep fake technology, where you could look like anyone on camera.
How do I feel?
Yeah.
About what?
About faking basically who you are.
Oh wow.
No, I'd rather be myself.
I got catfish once. Catfish once.
He's
Alright.
That's how people get catfish. Okay, that's a good.
Oh,
Do what?
Angel got catfish. Angel got catfish.
And someone's tried catfishing someone with my pictures, actually.
oh my God.
Yeah, Angel got catfished by somebody online, some girl.
So-
He left her in the parking lot. He just walked off and left. He showed up and it wasn't the girl. He just got in his car and
Okay,
left.
so how much of a
Oh, that's right.
discrepancy was there? Was it like, oh, maybe she put on a few pounds, or she's like put on a lot of makeup and that's not quite
Yeah.
her? Or was it like a big dude?
Totally
It was
different.
like a 40-year-old dude.
No, it was. I mean, this.
Yeah, he was in a van.
No, it was a.
It was a
whole
huge
different girl.
HIPAA violation or a HIPPO violation.
A HIPAA violation.
Like this girl, you know, she looked good on Facebook, and then I show up and it's not her. I was like, oh my goodness, what's going on here?
He just left.
I just
He left.
You did a
I know
drive-by.
he
You
was
rolled the window down and gone, no, thanks. Roll it back up.
That's not, I'm out.
Have you ever been on a date with a girl and then just leave?
No, I've not been on many dates because you know, we wait for marriage and stuff. So I've had like a few little meeting sort of things, you know, little dates, but nothing where it's like gone past that. Yeah, not.
Evelyn, have you done that? Just like went on a date and then say, I got to go to the restroom. Excuse yourself from like the dinner table and just leave. You know?
I haven't, but I definitely would.
I've
would.
ghosted people for very petty things.
Right. Uh-huh.
Very petty things.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
there was a girl that was talking to a while back. It was all fine, you know, seemed okay, and then she let slip that she's a Liverpool fan, and
Oh,
I didn't
yeah.
reply again.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's taking a stance.
Oh,
It's taking a
yeah,
stance,
that was a big one.
Let's talk about the Queen of England
Queen
again,
of
right?
England.
You always hear that the richest person in the world is the royal family, just because they own so much land. I mean, if you look at the world's largest landowners, they own something like 700 billion acres. I mean, it's like a crazy number of the amount of acreage that the royal family owns. So they say, well, if you really just put a monetary value to that land,
Boom.
they're by far the richest people on the planet, by far.
Yeah, I've heard that as well. I think I don't trust them. Basically, I don't quite like them, to be honest. They give me a weird vibe. We were kind of talking about this before, weren't we? Is that Prince? Is it Andrew? The weird one, that was done with the. We started talking about Epstein instead.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Oh, that interview freaked me out. He was weird, and he was saying all these things like it was normal and like, yeah, whatever, you know, just got caught out, and he's trying to justify why he was in these places. So they freak me out as people. Like, I think they can get away with way too much.
He was obviously lying in that interview,
yeah.
right? He was obviously uncomfortable. He was lying, and it was pretty obvious when he did it. Why would that guy even do the interview? I mean, at what point does the royal? I'm surprised they didn't kill him. You know what I mean? I can't. And Prince Andrew's doing this video. We got.
Well, they've already been dying, and 2 in 20 years is gonna be a bit too much.
Yeah, exactly. You think they killed Princess Diana?
Yeah, 100%. This is the thing that we're going to talk about. I'm 100% on the side that, yeah, Charles wanted Camilla, and then there's some talk about, you know, Diana and Dodie and all this stuff, and then some weird stuff went down, and, you know, no cameras, people's motorcycles going inside and all sorts of things. Very strange.
No, there's lots of conspiracy. So is that the conspiracy theory that you're gonna stand your ground on?
No, the one that I stand on is the McCann one, which, you know, have you heard this? Madeleine McCann, the little girl who.
I can. Yeah.
No, is this a Netflix series on this?
Yeah, it's on Netflix. Yeah.
I haven't watched that yet, but give me the scoop on that real quick. I may watch.
Okay, so
I might start it tonight.
Yeah.
while I was supposed to be revising for my finals, there was a podcast I was watching. One of these guys that he's really up into Manchester United and stuff, but he goes very off topic on his podcast. He starts talking about football, ended up talking about Madeleine McCann. And he said, oh, you need to watch this video called Embedded Confessions on YouTube. And it's this guy from the States, and he's like an FBI interview analyzer. And at the end of that, he does like a segment where he analyzes one of their first interviews after she's been abducted and lost and stuff. And he says that likelihood is that the father had something to do with it, and he may have been in a ring.
Really?
So, and at the end of this video, it's about an hour long, and there's 3 other videos which are 2 hours long. So I watched about 9 hours worth of my library time. I was convinced, and that's the one I'll probably die on the hill. Die on the hill.
Yeah, I always think we were talking about this earlier. How amazing it is, how many talented people actually come from the UK. I mean, it's comparatively speaking, it's a very small place, I mean, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. I mean, there's so many great artists that come from the UK. There's so many great actors that come from the UK, musicians. It's amazing how that you guys are just like a breeding ground for talent there.
Yeah, I think because we have our cities are quite compact. I think is one of the things. So you get a lot of mixing of different cultures. You know, for example, London is incredibly multicultural. Manchester is like a musical capital, isn't it? You know, you've got the is it Oasis and there's a few other bands who are quite good from there as well. So you get kind of a clashing of cultures, and it seems to bring out a lot of the best in people, as well as the worst at times as well. But overall, I think that's probably why we have kind of that, because people are exposed to so many different ideas.
Right. So if you want to be knighted by the queen, right? It's the queen that knights people, the royal family. That's how you become sir, whatever. If they said we were going to knight you, would you? Is that something you'd be interested in doing?
I'm out.
Is there a status symbol associated with that? Do you get like better parking if you're knighted?
Really?
I think there is status associated. Yeah, there definitely is. I wouldn't go for it though. I'd take my stand.
Just because of the whole shadiness of the royal family thing.
Way shady, man. Way shady.
Interesting.
Do you think that England will ever do away with the royal family? You think that's that bloodline's just going to exist forever?
See, I think there's a lot of people that don't like them, but there's enough people who would really kick up a massive shitstorm if they tried to get rid, that no one's going to bother. Like, do you know how you get the people who are just super, super passionate about, I don't know, like you had it with Trump, didn't you? You had guys who were incredibly passionate about what he stood for, and they were going on marches and stopping votes and whatever else was going on. And you had the same on the other side as well, you know, some crazies on that side. I think the Royals and the England football team are those 2 points in the UK where you mess with that, you're gonna lose some teeth. People are gonna be swinging for you.
Right. It's just a hard concept for people in the States to grasp, because I mean, we don't have a royal family here in the United States, so we've never had that. We never had that in our culture before, so we don't really understand it like you guys do, who've grown up with it your whole life.
Personally, I don't feel it, but I think there probably people are. It's maybe not on the same level, but the way that some people feel about your military, that might be it. Which I've always found a bit weird. I'll be honest. I've really found that weird when I was in the States. But yeah, I'm not gonna cuss out your military too much, otherwise someone will be after me.
No, it is
NSA.
definitely a weird concept. Yeah,
like almost like the glorification of it. Right?
Yeah, it just felt like these are guys that go and shoot people. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And you're considered more patriotic if you've served in the military, versus it's harder to be that patriotic for someone who hasn't been in the military. You know, if I was saying I love my country, and versus someone says I love my country so much I wouldn't fight in the military for it, right? I mean, those people seem to be considered more patriotic than people who don't go in the military.
Yeah, I mean, it's like that old Muhammad Ali thing, you know, no Viet Cong ever did anything to me, that sort of thing.
Right.
I mean, I'm not someone who likes violence, etc., etc. You know, I'm not condoning either side of any of these conflicts. So, for me, I think, you know, people just need to chill.
Yeah, in England, you don't have to join the military; it's not required.
No,
right?
they used to. Back in the day, you had like conscription and stuff, but it's been done away with a long time ago. Yeah.
All right.
Here it's by choice.
Yeah, but some countries you have to join the military for a year or two, or
Like
2 years.
Korea's
Yeah,
like that.
Korea, South Korea is pretty crazy with that, aren't they?
But Prince Harry is kind of the wild card in the royal family.
He's the one
right?
I like. He's the one I like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, you know.
First of all, I was a huge Suits fan. But I was like, he went after what's her name from Suits. I was like, that's pretty crazy. And
Meghan Markle.
yeah, and she's a very talented lady.
With the family and the royal family, you know, her parents and the royal family. There's all that drama you always hear about.
People here are crazy. Like if you go onto don't go onto the Daily Mail, but if you were to go on the Daily Mail, and there's an article about Harry and Meghan. Oh my God, there's some vile comments. If you think you get vile comments, go and have a look at some of those. It's like, and it's like, it's not even thinly veiled. It's like, how can you let somebody like that into the royal family? And it's pretty obvious that it's, you know, she's a little bit coloured and they don't like it.
Right.
That's crazy.
Yeah. There was a whole baby bump thing. Did you see that? I'm sure you, well, seeing as you like Cosmo, you probably saw it, right?
Right. Did she have a miscarriage?
No, so there's William, who's married to, what's the other lady's name? Kate Middleton. And then there was a picture, you know, she's like holding the bump, which I think is something the ladies do when they've got a baby, because like it feels comforting or something. I don't know. Evelyn, when you have a baby, you can tell us whether that's you know, when it happens, you can tell us what it feels like.
We're posting her whole pregnancy on the TikTok. We're doing DNA tests. We're doing all kinds of crazy stuff when that happens.
She'll know who the father is. Don't worry.
We're still doing DNA tests though.
But yeah, there was an article like, oh, look how motherly and caring she is. Then Megan had the same thing when she was pregnant, and they were like, look at Megan showing off the bump.
Yeah. That's how it is.
Yeah.
So it's like undercurrents. Like, well, you didn't say it for the very white posh lady. Why have you said it for the the mixed race American girl?
Same thing happened with Michelle Obama too. It was very different with how they that. So.
Yeah, so there's that whole thing. So that's probably one of the reasons I don't really like them very much.
Right.
I don't know.
Now your dental school is it 4 years in England?
5 as an undergrad.
Is that counting your undergrad as
We
well?
don't do an undergrad.
You guys can just go straight from high school.
To high school. So she's getting excited. You know, it's only 20 odd grand or something as an international student.
Most places in the world are. The United States is different in the fact that most of the time you have to do an undergrad before you go to professional school. People, you can just go straight to professional
and
school.
You're gonna hate me now. So when I went to dental school, I paid £3,000 a year.
Oh yeah, wow. Well, you know, obviously, it's a lot more expensive now than it was when I went. Totally. I think it cost me about $150,000 for 4 years to go to dental school, and I mean, people are probably paying twice that much now.
I've heard that some people are $750,000 in the hole after they've gone through dental school, and if they go to maybe endo or they do oral surgery or something. So it's pretty hefty.
Look, I've always said that these dental schools and medical schools, they can charge whatever they want to. They could charge you $1 million to go to school. There's still enough people want to say they're doctors and dentists. They would have no problem filling those spots. Yeah. Every spot would still be full. Now, they may not have the competitive people they want to have in those positions, but they would fill every single one of those.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. I have seen a trend of Americans moving to Europe for dental school. I don't know if it's huge.
Oh, really?
I don't know if it's huge. But I know there's a bunch of girls that I featured a while back who are now in Poland doing dentistry. I think it's maybe a good option because you can go through the whole of Europe. If you're in mainland Europe, you can travel to Paris, Rome, Barcelona, all these places pretty easily, pretty cheaply. We're talking £50 for a return flight to and from some of these places. So it can be really exciting to do that, and it's a lot cheaper than going to NYU or UCLA or something. So
yeah, as long as it's in English, you know what I mean?
No, all of them are taught in English. A lot of the places. So
yeah, but there's a dental school in the U.S. and Puerto Rico that's completely Spanish.
Didn't know that.
And there's opening one in Texas. It's in El Paso. It's right on the border of Mexico, and that dental school is going to be in Spanish.
And have they built the wall along with the dental school? Which side of the wall is
right there? Yeah. They tunnel under the wall to go to the clinic. And then
Elon Musk's, he's got a little tunnel there. You take your Tesla to and from.
Yeah, he's going to completely screw Trump's plan up. He's just going to dig tunnels under the wall. It doesn't matter how big it is.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about kind of what it means to be American?
I tell people, I've been all over the world. I've traveled a lot. And I still would rather live in the United States than pretty much anywhere on the planet, I still think.
Yeah.
I actually asked him that question before the podcast, and that was his answer.
Right. And I think that as Americans, you really appreciate the kind of freedom we have when you go to a lot of these other countries. And I'm sure you guys feel the same way. But when you go to a lot of these Asian countries or these African countries, you really start appreciating the freedoms that we do have in our country.
I think it's interesting because I was born and brought up in the UK, but obviously I'm from South Asian heritage. When I go back to the Middle East, I feel as at home there as I do in the UK. So part of me feels,
Right.
well, I could probably live, there as well, and it wouldn't affect my life, and I'd be perfectly happy. One of the main things that's stopping me is I wouldn't be able to have my season ticket, and it's a real big deal to me. So
Yeah.
no,
But I mean, I went out to China, and you don't have Facebook and you don't have Instagram, and all those things are blocked. And
okay, yeah.
there's criminal implications as far as if you're caught using those devices, right? I mean, they want to be in control of what information comes in and out of your head, right? And I mean, I've been to Dubai a bunch of times, and I think Dubai is great. I feel safe there. It's beautiful. It's a great city. People are very friendly there. But I have a friend who was in the military. He was one of the top military people in the UAE, and he says, yeah, all your phone calls are being recorded. I mean, they're recording your
Yeah.
phone calls because when they're there, the government tells them, do not talk on your cell phone. This is how we communicate, and it's different than using a cell phone because they are recording your phone call. So, I mean, to me, I always kind of know that in the back of my head when I'm in
Do you
those
not have the
places. Like,
NSA
okay,
with you guys anyway?
right, and yeah, our government's probably recording our phone calls too. Just for some reason, it feels safer
Yeah,
to me.
it's
Than,
the familiar.
you know?
It's the familiarity of, it's this is my country and I've always lived here, sort of thing. Do you reckon?
It's like the cameras in London,
Yeah.
right? I mean, yeah, they're recording everything, but this is your country and you feel safe. You don't feel like the government's going to do something evil against you because they're your government and you're one of their citizens,
Yeah,
right?
I think what's interesting about Dubai, because I have family there and my friend is working out there. So I went to university with him. He's like my best friend. We were, in halls of residence. We were next door neighbors for a year. Um, he moved out there to teach, and I went to
Mhm.
visit him a couple of years back, and he goes, "Don't worry, just go wherever you want. You can leave the door open, leave your stuff in there, it'll be fine." Because it was
Right.
so safe. You can literally leave your front door wide open. You could left your laptop, your camera, everything there. No one's going to touch it because it's just not a thing. There's so little crime because the punishment.
Well, and the consequences for those
Yeah.
crimes are pretty
So
severe.
you just
You
feel
do
so
things, right?
safe, and you're just like, well, part of me thinks, well, if I have, if I have children at some point and I've got girls, would that be better to live somewhere that's really safe? They can walk around at night and not be worried that something's going to happen.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, look, and those there's definitely severe consequences, and those things are in your
Yeah.
favor as long as you're someone who obeys the rules, right? Versus like a United States where there's a lot more red tape when it comes to like putting people away, and then maybe the judges are a little more lenient here, but as long as you're on that right side, what happens when they think you stole something and you really didn't steal
Yeah.
something, and then horrible consequence that goes against you, and you really don't have much of a defense.
Yeah, I think there's swings and roundabouts with all these things, isn't there? But I mean, I felt safe-ish in the United States, well, apart from maybe Chicago downtown because you heard shots and you're like, fuck, you're like, all right, we're getting inside now. So that, yeah, I mean, so again, it's the familiarity of where to go and where not to go in the States, for example. The places where you don't go at night, and it's not a clever thing to walk through Central Park when it's pitch black. I don't know, just that.
Common
Yeah.
sense, stuff's common sense, right?
Mm. It's very interesting because the world's a very interesting place, and some places are safer than you think, and some are not as safe as you might think. So London, I wouldn't walk around on my own in London.
You would?
No, I wouldn't. I would drive.
You
Yeah, I
would?
would drive. Or
Uh-huh.
Like me, even. I wouldn't go to Walmart here at night, but if I was in Dumas, I'd go to Walmart at night.
Really? Yeah. I mean, it's all your concept of. I mean, if you live in
yeah, you
Iraq,
can't walk around with a face
it's
like this at night.
you're going to go to London and you're not going to worry about anything, right? You're going to go to Chicago in the bad part of Chicago, and you're not going to
Yeah.
be that worried because I mean, what your base reality is, right?
Yeah, it's very interesting. Again, it's your perception of these areas.
Right. Uh-huh. Legalization of is marijuana, is that legal in the UK?
I don't think so. It should be because
Amsterdam though, which is relatively close to you, right?
yeah, then in the Netherlands it definitely is. In Portugal they legalized pretty much all drugs and crime disappeared because there was no one selling them anymore. There was this experiment in Geneva in Switzerland where the crime was quite high and they had a lot of people who were addicted to heroin, and they started doing like a where they would get them in and then wean them off, and then
Right.
their crime rates went way down. So that was really interesting. I can't remember exactly what the study was called, but that's pretty interesting to look into.
Uh-huh.
It'd be one way for us to pay for the whole COVID fiasco. Legalize all these
Right.
drugs.
Well, yeah,
Tax the
we
shit
had
out
one
of
of the states. Yeah, one of our states in the U.S. just decriminalized drugs. So every drug got decriminalized. So it's not necessarily illegal, but you just don't go to jail if you're a heroin addict. You don't go to jail. Maybe they send you to rehab, or maybe there's other things that they do. Which, I mean, look, I think I'm a kind of a supporter of. You know, if someone's addicted to a drug, if someone's addicted to heroin and they're in their basement and they're not bothering anybody, but they're doing their drugs. Why is that? They're not really a threat on society. I mean, why are we sending that person with this vice to prison, and then you're destroying the rest of their life? So you get this 18-year-old kid who's made a bunch of mistakes, and all of a sudden he's addicted to drugs. We're going to convict this kid of a felony, and he's going to go to prison. And then when he gets out of prison, he's not going to be able to get a job for the rest of his life because he has this drug conviction, right?
I think it's crazy. And then you can decriminalize something. So it's been, weed has been decriminalized in some of the states in the US, right? And yet there's still people in those same states who are in prison for possession or selling of those particular drugs, which is like the biggest dichotomy you'll ever kind of see.
It's crazy because, marijuana is legal in certain states, but on a federal level, it's illegal. So it may be legal in California. So you can use marijuana in California, but from the United States point of view, it's a crime. So the thing that people have to worry about, especially like physicians and dentists, is that your license, you have a drug license that's you're given by the U.S. government. It's a federal license.
Yeah, to prescribe.
So technically, if you're in California, even though it's legal there and you're a physician, you're using drugs, they can pull your license to prescribe from you because you're breaking a federal crime, and that's a federal license that you have. So I know to our doctors in Colorado, and the medical board tells them that, just because it's legal doesn't mean you can do it, because you can still lose your license for using marijuana, even though it's legal in our state.
Do you find this whole thing about professionalism a bit OTT, in that dentists or medics are held to such a higher standard than any other person?
I don't know. If do you think lawyers should be held to a higher standard when it comes to like the understanding of the law, right? Let's say you go to court, and let's say you're a lawyer. Let's say you're a normal, low IQ person, and the judge may say, well, okay, you broke these laws, but you probably don't understand them. You're not very intelligent. I can understand why you broke the law. You're maybe just not very smart, right? Versus a lawyer who breaks the same law, and they go to court. The judge is going to say, well, you have no excuse. I mean, you're a lawyer. I mean, you went to school to learn about the law. Why you can't sit here and play dumb with me.
Yeah.
I understand that you do what you were doing, right? That would be the devil's argument on that, right?
In the UK, it was really weird. So getting a tattoo, for example, it's not something that I would particularly want. But I'm sure there were guys in uni who had a sleeve or they had something on their arms. They would have to cover that up because of professionalism, having long hair. Which, I mean, look at my hair right now. I can almost tie it back up again. And I had a man bun at one point. Again, looked down upon. Having a beard or stubble is looked down upon because of professionalism. These are just normal things. People have hair, and people maybe want to have Chris in the background, caressing his beard.
But it's different. When I first started my practice, I wouldn't hire people with tattoos. Or if they had a tattoo, I'd make them cover it up. I mean, this was 12 years ago when I started the practice. And now I don't care. It doesn't bother me.
Now we've got
right?
Angel with, You should get a face tattoo, Angel.
Yeah, face tattoo, Angel. Yeah. But at a certain point, everybody started getting tattoos. And, 20 years ago, when you looked at someone with a sleeve, then you thought that person was like a biker, Hell's Angel, or out of prison. I mean, there was a negative connotation with people who had tattoos. And now pretty much at least over 50% of people have a tattoo today in the States.
That's just, people shouldn't judge anyone.
Which is changing, but it's like saying, okay, would you, if you went to a doctor's office and let's say the person had a mohawk, had a blue mohawk, right? That guy was your doctor, would you want that guy to work on you?
No.
Why not?
Why don't you judge them?
I know.
Yeah, why don't you judge the people?
Because I'd be like, do you know what you're doing?
Wow.
Because
all right, so on that
So I think you're just describing right now is how society was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They would see somebody with tattoos and say, "I don't know if she knows what she's doing." The same way you would look at this guy with his blue mohawk tattoo.
Yeah, so I mean,
that
let's
would
just
have.
pretend that yourself and Evelyn have switched roles, and Evelyn is Dr. Graves, who's the Max Fax genius, and Dr. Graves is now her trusty assistant. So people would walk in and assume that Billy is the doctor and you were the assistant, which is I've seen that happen where I was assisting in dental school, one of my colleagues, and the patient is looking towards me, and I'm like, no, I'm just here holding the suction.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's that same thing, isn't it? The prejudice, you want to kind of break out of it.
Right. And females, I mean, definitely experience that a lot more than males do. But when I first started my practice, I mean, I looked very young. I looked really young.
They still tell him that. He walks into a consult and they say, "Are you even old enough?"
I get that every year. I get less of that.
And they're trying to get discounts.
But when I first started, every single patient would do that. Every patient, and I would feel like I had I needed to impress them. Like I needed to talk like a doctor.
This is where you need the big denture beard, man. This is where the beard comes in.
Yeah, so I felt like I needed to do that back in the day. I would always wear suits when I first started. I'd have a tie on, a shirt and a tie, and then I got to the point where I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? Now I get offended if they don't act like that. I want them to think that I'm young. It's more of a compliment now than it used to be. I used to hate it. It used to drive me nuts.
Maybe you should hire. Sorry, guys. Evelyn and Gabe. Maybe you should hire older assistants.
Yeah,
so people in the 70s, and you'll be the young guy in the office by comparison.
Yeah, I don't discriminate on anybody for age. We'll hire anybody with ages. We just want people with high energy levels. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna have assistants that's able to keep up.
You've got your vitamins. You just you can give them some drops, get them going.
Yeah. Have everybody line up and just everybody open up. Open up. Martha, get over here.
Stop.
Martha, get out.
Yeah,
you've get out of that wheelchair and get up here and get your
You've decriminalized all the drugs. You get a few lines set up, get everything high, get things moving.
Exactly.
Get everybody going.
Exactly.
The morning lines.
It's better than stretching in the morning.
Exactly.
It's a lot more sufficient.
No, but we have a lot with high energy. That obviously COVID's slowed us down, and this is not a typical year. But I mean, typically, like during most years, I mean, we're doing 14 to 20 surgeries a day between the doctors.
That's crazy. That's good.
Yeah.
That's we see up to 40 patients a day in the UK as a dentist. So that's I mean, you're doing actual surgery, so obviously the numbers are a bit different. So how do you manage to keep going? Because that sounds exhausting to me.
I look at everything more as competitive. I mean, there's some days I look at the schedule, I'm like, how the hell they expect me to do the schedule? This is ridiculous. And I look at it, I'm like, you guys are ridiculous. You guys are trying to kill me. But then I look at it, I'm like, you know what? I bet I can do it. My goal today is to stay on time all day long. Because and that's my pet peeve is we have one of the doctors, he has a tendency to get behind schedule a lot. And my goal is always to be on the schedule. If the schedule says that everybody leaves at 5 o'clock, I want everybody to leave at 5 o'clock. I don't want to stay there till 5:30 or 6 and hold everybody over. I want it's almost like a sign of defeat is if I don't keep the schedule the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and you're the boss. You've got to show the way. You got to lead the light, lead the torch. What's the phrase?
I don't know, but leadership always comes from the top.
You're the Pied
right?
Piper.
The Pied Piper,
Yeah, how he is.
He's got things to do. He's got podcasts to do.
Yeah, I mean, leadership comes from the top, and you know what? In the doctor in the office always sets the tone for the rest of the staff. If the doctor in the office has a really shitty attitude and it's just a bad person, then the staff is going to be grumpy. The staff's not going to be friendly. They're going to be mean to patients if the doctor's mean to patients. So they set the tone for the office.
Yeah.
There's a reason that we don't hate going to work. We love going to work. I love going to work.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, even he wears beanies. He does TikTok.
Well, I'll see you in a lot of beanies. So I was kind of wearing this,
Yeah, I do love them. It's because my hair has got. I'll show you. It's so bloody long.
Dr. Graves' hair was getting that long.
I had longer hair. My COVID cut was kind of similar to that.
Yeah, so my mom doesn't want us getting hair. Well, she doesn't want us getting haircuts while COVID's still a thing. because she doesn't trust other people. So I don't mind because I've had long hair before. I had the bun and stuff, and my hair's eventually it's gonna fall out. Unfortunately, as MPB will set in. Male pattern baldness.
Concerned with the whole COVID thing? Your parents, your family?
We have people with comorbidities in the house. So my grandma's 80s.
Right.
And she had a normal infection, standard infection a couple of years ago, and it really, really affected her. So you can already see this is something that's a bit more on a higher level sort of infection or virus. You definitely don't want her to catch it. So she was living with my uncle, who has 2 young kids who are going to school. As soon as we heard about COVID, February time, we pulled her out and moved to our house where everyone's, adult, not going to school, not super spreading and all that. So yeah, we had a little bit more worry with her, especially. My brother's got a few comorbidities as well, so we kind of locked him up for a while, which he wasn't too happy about.
Right. It's a smart thing to do, though.
Good.
I can see you guys are stretching and getting a little tired, so shall we call it a day?
Yeah, we had fun. It's been a long day for them. She's been in Oklahoma working with us all day.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing. I'd be happy to have you guys anytime, because I think we just talked a load of shit for 3 hours, so it was fun. It was real fun.
Yeah, we'll do a 24-hour stream.
Next time I'll get an energy drink, get something going, some snacks and everything.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, good. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
We've all enjoyed it.
Yeah,
yes.
no, I've had a lot of fun, and it's good to talk to people who don't want to talk about teeth. So you guys are high up on my list right now. You're in the good books. The beef is over until the next time.
Well,
The
the beef is over until we don't want it
Yeah,
over.
until we archive the video and decide I'm gonna Photoshop a basketball.
We
That'd
should
be
do
great.
that anyway.
We should do that anyways. Yeah, we should do that
Yeah.
anyways.
So guys, this has been Dr. Graves. We've got Chris in the back. We've got Angel, and we've got Evelyn. It's been incredible fun. Make sure to follow this, guys, which you're probably already doing on TikTok. But you've also got Dr. Graves on Instagram. You've got Amarillo Oral Surgery, is it? On Instagram. Where else can we find you guys?
I mean, we're on
YouTube.
YouTube, Dr. Graves on YouTube, and then I'm on Twitter, Dr. Bill DMD.
Yep, and so guys, make sure you follow those. If you send me the list of the links, I'll drop them in the description of the video. That's probably the best thing to do.
Hold on. Here, give me permission to share the screen real quick.
Okay, let's see what.
You grant permission. Oh, I have to go Mac Systems.
Let's see what happens.
Chris, you got that? Security, screen recording. Let me see here.
Can you still see us?
Let me see what's happened. I can still see you guys.
Anyways, I'll send it to you.
Cool.
I'll send it to you. I got it on here.
Yeah,
okay?
I'll throw that up in the link in the description of the video. Guys, if you have been new, make sure to subscribe, like the like button. I'm still really bad at the whole YouTube thing. I'm 3 months in. I get it wrong every single time. Like the video, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you enjoy what I do, check out the Patreon group where you can help me upgrade my equipment with stuff like this. This has been the incredible guys from the TikToks, Dr. Gray.